on their shows.
Looking for something new in sci-fi or fantasy? Check out what Brandon Sanderson, Orson Scott Card, Nnedi Okorafor, and others chose as the best news stories of the year in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology from 24 award-winning authors and illustrators, plus art and writing tips and bonus stories. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Buy your copy at galaxypress.com, Amazon, or wherever books are sold.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm sorry. People, now this is for later in the year. I know my mic and stuff is in the way. Let's see if we can turn this mic. Okay. Yeah, damn, mic is right in the way. So if you see back here, usually in random books, you'll see there's a case of books back here. This is Writers of the Future's anthologies 30 through 39 in a case. Very nice case, actually. And we're going to be giving these away this year. This one's going to be given away, and then we got two that'll probably be given away inside the station. But you never know; y'all might have a shot at those two. But sometime later this year, this one will be given away. Anyway, now let me get my beautiful self back in front of the camera. Somebody got to be pretty in this group, man. Whoa, goddamn, for sure, somebody got to be pretty in this group now.
That's right. There he is. I know.
Anyway, welcome everybody to. Jay's freezing again. There, he's back. Hey, you can't be putting that on the air, buddy. You need to put that little thing out.
Oh, I didn't know we were on. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Yeah, she's bad. You get in trouble. Everybody, welcome to News on the Flipside. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Saturday. We got a lot of news tonight. There's no guest tonight, so we're going to cross a lot of news topics. We'll get some good commentary in between the three of us, too. So a lot of good stuff to talk about. First off,
it's Friday.
It's Friday, and it's Joe Biden Day. It's Joe Biden Day, people. So let me just take my glasses off so I can be blinded to some of this Joe Biden stuff. I'm watching TV, and I'm going through YouTube, and boom, I see this link about Joe Biden falling. I had no idea how many times this guy has busted his ass. Now, if that was me personally, I would figure another way to get around. Maybe get me a little cart or something. Get one of those runabouts, that go up in the air and push you up so you can sit and talk and sit down, let you take off. Of course, he might run somebody over and kill somebody with one, but still, I don't know what to think about him when I see it. I mean, look, I'm not anti-age because some of our better presidents were older, so I don't want to hate on that, but it's. I think when you start seeing the stuff that you see with him, he should have to have a cognizance test outside of the one that's given to him at the Pentagon. I'm not trusting them to be honest with us. And I just think he should, because, the Democrats are all like, oh, no. And we're all like, come on, dude. I talked to my Democrat friends.
Just for Alzheimer's. I mean, it seems like he's got the beginnings of it.
Yeah.
But then again, here's what I don't understand about it. I mean, there's times that he's up there and he's talking good, he looks good, and then there's another time where he just falls over shit and doesn't know what he's actually talking about.
Watch, where's my camera? And sometimes that's what it is a drug. Some people think it's a double. I have seen a couple of Bidens that didn't look like other Bidens. I don't, but I'm not buying into all the double stuff. It's just, I think so if you watch doing the debates, like the days before the debates, he was fumbling and bumbling. And then all of a sudden for the debate, he was sharp. So there's lots of drugs they can give you to sharpen you up like that. The problem for Joe Biden is they can't give it to him every day because it'd kill him. And God knows nobody wants Kamala Harris. Nobody, not even the Democrats want Kamala Harris as president. They pretty much figured it would be the end of their party, which they might be right.
Pretty close.
It would, I mean, somebody said, well, she would be the first elected president. I said, no, she wouldn't be elected. I said, so she wouldn't be the first female by the people. She'd be the first female by default, which is not the same thing as being the first elected black female. It's a given position. Well, there's only one other person. Whoever sent me that just now was Gerald Ford.
I was just looking to see who's fallen more, Ford or Biden, and I can't find anything on that yet. So.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean with Biden, it's just where's my glasses? He's just he's just out there right now. And let's see, we had a couple of links there. Let me see what I did with them. But I don't want to always be hating on presidents because I really don't care if they're Republicans or Democrats as long as they're doing a decent job.
That's paying $5 for gas.
Yes, and I agree with that. So a friend of mine was arguing with me today about how good the economy was. I said, well, how much money? I said, how much? So I asked him, I said, how much more money are you making than I am? He's like, well, Joe. I said, no, dude. I said, I want you to break that down for me and explain to me why you think this is a great economy. So really, if you're making more than like $250,000 a year, it is a good economy. If you're anywhere below that, it is just the worst thing that ever happened to humans. And since the majority of us are below that, it's what do you mean? No.
People are actually Joe,
1 to 5 million years. So okay, that's what y'all think I make. Fine, 1 to 5 million. We'll go with that. Mm-hmm.
But there are analysts out there, Joe, that are saying that this is worse than the Great Depression of '29.
It's bad.
And the only reason why it doesn't seem as bad is because we have all the processed foods, canned foods, and spam, and canned meats and canned hash. Corned beef hash. It's a staple in my house. I eat a whole can. 60-ounce can of corned beef hash or roast beef hash. That's good.
That's damn Yankee food,
too.
man.
Spam.
Damn Yankee food. Oh, well, no, spam's universal. Sorry.
Spam's universal.
Unfortunately, spam is universal.
That's all right.
Oh, people.
Does anybody know what spam stands for?
You've never lived.
No.
Go ahead and tell them what it's. I have no idea.
SPAM. It stands for Special Processed Ham.
Yeah. Well, it's special. I don't know if it's ham, but it's special. Ham.
All I know is I saw a pig eyeball on it one time.
Oh man, come on! I don't see some things I just don't need to know.
We don't need to know that.
I know there's some things you just don't need to know.
That kept us alive as kids, though. In the 70s, my mom would fry up a couple.
Oh, I remember when we bought. I remember when we bought our first properties out in the sticks, and my grandpa and my dad thought it was funny to go drive out there and bring the barbecue pit and barbecue up some spam. I'm like, no, don't get me wrong.
It was a thing. It was an actual thing.
I'm like, guys, and I looked at my dad and dad said, I know we got more money than getting buying spam. And, but after a while, it just becomes a taste. I caught myself when my son was born frying it in the frying pan in the kitchen. It's a thing. A
little bit of onions in there. Yum.
Yeah, it's just a thing. No, guys, when it comes to Biden, look, so real quick, I'll run through some of them. So the first thing he comes out and he's saying 3 or 4 times he's fallen down the steps getting an airplane. One time he fell down 3 times in one set. And, I'm not hating on him. It's just we need a president that just has his stuff together right now. Who that is, it's not him. I'm not willing to go out on a limb and say who's going to be our next president because, frankly, I have no idea. We've never had 2 people running for presidency that may end up in jail before.
What is that? Yeah, they're under indictment or some kind of investigations. Yeah.
Well, Clara, no. They're going to impeach Biden. Yeah, you can take that to the bank. There's enough now with the 5,600 emails and those 1,000 emails to that one company because he said he never talked to his son was on the board. They're going to definitely do that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but hasn't every president since Bush been indicted or been impeached? Obama was, Trump was, Clinton was.
No, Clinton was half-assed. They never actually pushed it over the top. They just stopped somewhere along the line. Because I don't know what it was. It was something about one of the. Oh, I remember what it was. So the Supreme Court decided that because remember he said he never had sexual relations with that lady. Well, by the letter of law, he was being truthful because the other thing isn't actually considered sexual intercourse. So what he said was factual. Yeah, it was considered. So they considered it factually correct. So there was nothing actually to impeach him on because the act of him getting a blowjob in the White House is not actually illegal. It's not moral, but it's not actually illegal. So you couldn't impeach him for that. So the only thing you could actually impeach him for was he lied about having sex with Monica. And then when it came down, no, well, technically he didn't. So that was the end of that. And what are you going to do? I liked Clinton anyway. I mean, I thought Clinton and Reagan were both good presidents. The Bushes scared the living shit out of me. And Reagan just made the world behave.
But
That's
they
why I
also
like
scared the living
Reagan.
shit out of our enemies too. So then we want that. We want our president
That's
to
what I'm saying. Reagan made the
put
world
fear in
behave.
our enemies.
And
And Reagan, when Reagan
Yeah.
was president, we were in the service, Joe. I got
That's
two
true.
pay raise,
That's
I got
true.
2 pay raises from him.
Well, I got to see him on the Nimitz. We better not talk about that on the show, but we'll have to talk about that on another show. But it was a good time. I mean, money was good. Everybody's making good. When I got out to service, I was making good money. I had lots of job opportunities around the country, so it was nice. And then Clinton came right. Well, but Daddy Bush came in and kind of screwed around 4 years and took us to war. Kind of messed everything up a little bit, but Clinton came right in behind him and went right through it. Clinton did a good job, and he was a liked president, and he just was a horny bastard. I mean, he was in the prime of his life. He's president of the free world. Can you really blame the man? I mean, come on. People don't even give me shit about it. Look, you don't want to know why? Because I'm not a Z-Gen, girly man. I'm actually a manly man. It's a different thing. Y'all like to move high. No, I'm sorry. I'm not going there. I'm just not going there. I got lots of friends that are Z-Geners. No, I do. I got X-Geners, Z-Geners, millennials. Well, they argue about where I'm at, if I'm a millennial or a Z-Gen anyway. I'm not a X-Gen, sorry.
We're boomers.
They argue if you're born in 63 because it's the cusp. So they argue you can be either one. Because it's a change of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
so you can't be stuck like
65 is like the cutoff for baby boomers, and I'm 66, but I consider myself a baby boomer. I'm not in the next generation or whatever.
And then the X generation considers
we were
themselves
the first
as the last.
skateboards.
So if you ever watching TikTok, you'll notice
we were the first skateboards and have yeah, but they think they got all the crap. We were the first ones with the skateboards and the video games and
but the X Gen is considered themselves as the last feral generation. Because they were
and when you wanted to find out how things are going with your neighbor or your friends, you went up and you knocked on the door. That was their Facebook wall. You knocked on the door. Hey, can Jimmy come out and play? No, okay. You went on and did something else.
It was, because a friend of mine asked me. I said, look, it was the weekend. All I heard from mom, you watch some cartoons? Yeah, get out. And she meant to get out the house, come back for lunch, get out the house, come back for dinner, and then settle in unless you're going somewhere because it's the weekend. And she meant it. She said, get them. And if you weren't out the house, she would find you something to do that made you wish you were out the house.
Yeah.
So it worked. It worked, but I liked it. I mean, we'd go bike ride. It was funny. I was telling this to a friend of mine just recently. I rode the entire city of New Orleans a couple times over before I ever get to drive in a car. And I knew it so well. Going around a car was really easy for me. I knew the shortcuts, the cut throughs. It was a nice thing growing up like that. But now I wouldn't. If when I had grandkids, I wouldn't let them go roaming around on bicycles in the city, even in the daytime. It'd be like, the hell's wrong with you? The place is dangerous, and it was probably dangerous back then. We were just too stupid to know it. And we always traveled in groups. I mean, it wasn't like we were.
Yeah.
We were always, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us riding around on bikes.
And back then we didn't use guns. We would go beat each other up after the fight, become friends again, go out and have a couple beers, dude. I mean, guns.
It's just the way it was.
Yeah.
Deneen, no, we're just talking about Joe Biden and where he is. I did read today so it's looking like they're going to probably impeach him. I know they're going to do the impeachment inquiry, I think, this week when they come back. When they come back from where they're at, I think they're going to be doing an impeachment inquiry. He's going to get impeached. But, impeachment just doesn't carry anything anymore. I don't really think it ever has. I mean, somebody said, well, Nixon got impeached. Look, they put him in jail. No, actually, that's not true. He resigned, and he didn't have to resign. He would have probably won. The Republicans had a majority, so he'd have probably won, but he decided that, okay, I'm going to resign. Why? That's what he did. I mean, he had just signed deals with China, Russia. He had done more for this country. He won by the largest majority of any president in history, his reelection. Yes. I think it was 17 million or 17%. It was it's still to the date. It is the largest majority any president's ever won reelection by. So the country liked him. And I mean, he had the first. We met Russia in space and merged our ships together. We made deals with China. We actually brought China back into the fold and said, "Look, you've been living in the dirt for too long. Let's see if we can't work some deals out." He was a good president, and we had a good, strong economy under him. And then here come Gerald Ford. Oh my God, that was a fucking train wreck. Somebody was running his ass from the string. Somebody's back there pulling his strings because I mean, he was just. And he wasn't an elected guy, you know. He was put in position.
He was the vice president.
And how did? And don't forget, he wasn't the vice president, guys. Ago, Spiro Agnew was the vice president, but got in trouble because of the IRS tax evasion, if I remember correctly, and had to step down. Yeah. And so somehow, miraculously, he ends up as president of the United States. You know, if you want to think there was any hanky panky going on back then, I don't know. It just seems to be.
Well, was he part of the House like McCarthy is right now?
He probably was at one point or another. I mean, I don't know if he was active or not. I'd have to go look it up to see. But it's so strange to see all this stuff today, and just to see, and like this one, this article just came in. FBI has been threatened over Hunter Biden's investigation. This is the New York Post. So
take it with what it's worth.
You know, but I mean, still, I mean, they're probably being threatened. And so this is the FBI. So in the old days, in the Hoover days, you'd have threatened the FBI. There'd have been shit to pay. I mean, they'd have been hell to pay, man. This would not have gone on. And all this stuff, this hanky-panky with these presidents and all this other stuff, this would not have gone on. Certain FBI leaders would have not allowed this to go on. They'd have been like, screw this. We're not going to allow for this. We can't allow this to go on in our country. It has to be better than this. We have to be better. But today, not so much. And then we find out recently that the CIA was bribing people. I think it might have been social networkers not to talk about certain things on air. Okay. Did like the Soviet Union sneak into the United States and we just didn't notice? I mean, what the hell is going on here? I mean, when you start talking about the FBI, when you start talking about the alphabet organizations kind of half-ass going rogue, it's time to get nervous. I mean, these are powerful organizations with lots of money and lots of connections. You do not want to get on their bad
and they're using Gestapo tactics.
They do. Leonard, where are you from, Leonard? Oh, L.A. No, I mean, I have nothing but respect for both of the agencies. Just unfortunately, it seems like parts of it has been corrupted. We're free citizens. We should be able to talk about it.
It's been weaponized into a political tool.
Yeah, and now it looks like the FBI is trying to pull back some. I think they realize what they've done, and I think they're trying to pull back some, but it may be too little, too late. You know, somebody here is, you know, God help him if Trump gets back in office. He's going after everybody. So, you know, do you think? What do you mean? Do I think Trump will get? Okay, that's just a really complicated question. First off, if the election was held today, Trump would win by about 5%. He's just. Joe Biden would just not be a contest. It doesn't matter how many indictments Trump has against him because Biden's going to have them too. So will he go to jail? No, he's not going to jail. How are you going to put the president of the United States in jail? Were you going to bring the whole Secret Service with him and stick him in the jail with him?
See, that's what I don't understand. People think, oh my God, he's going to jail. Yay. What was it? Dan Bongino said what they would have to do, whatever jail they put him in, they would have to take all the prisoners and give him one floor only by himself. Yes. Due to the Secret Service.
He would have special chefs. He'd have conjugal. No, people. That's not how it would be. No, actually, they can't put him in jail. One, it would start a riot in the United States. Oh, yeah. It would start a serious riot in the United States. Would I riot? Hell no, I wouldn't riot. But it would start a riot. You don't understand. Okay, think about this. 83 million people voted for him in last election. It looks like he might break even that because I know I heard somebody say, "Oh, well, he's not getting the black vote." My ass! Did y'all watch what happened in Georgia when he went to go do it? Man, the
Yeah,
blacks were in the streets ranting and raving over Trump. One of the
yeah.
biggest black activists in the country stood up and she said, "I would always prefer an alpha man over a pissant." Was her words exactly. She was talking about Trump versus Biden, and
I read that. I saw that. Yeah.
and I mean, they're not playing. I mean, anybody who thinks that you're not going to see turnout for Trump and black is stupid because one thing for sure, somebody, oh, the economy's so much better. Well, when Trump was president for blacks and Hispanics, it was the lowest rate unemployment rate ever. Well, it's going back up since Biden's in. The overall unemployment rate might be 3.5, but the ones for the blacks and Hispanics is going back up. Yes, because Biden don't care. Democrats never have cared. I've never understood this about any self-respecting anyone who votes Democrat because of slavery or anything along those lines. First off, we can go all the way back to Lincoln, who was a Republican. Yes, he was a Republican. The Democrats voted against slavery back then. So as we're moving back into the future, the Democrats vote for what? Jim Crow laws, then found the Ku Klux Klan. These are all facts. Y'all can look them up for yourself. So show me where anywhere in there. They say, well, that's when Kennedy, yeah, they founded the Ku Klux Klan when Kennedy was around. So they snowed you. It was, and then Trump got them good when Trump said, well, you tell me in front of a big black audience, he said, you tell me what the Democrats have done for you in the last 30 years. And no one, it was like crickets. No one could say anything. So he's pulled more people than you think. And all the legal immigrants in the country are going to vote for him. I can tell you that now because they're pissed about all this competition for work now. I was listening to LA the other day. They're gonna all vote Trump. Now you mean does he get convicted? If he gets convicted before the election, okay. If he gets convicted, but there's an appeal, he can still run. And if he wins, he can pardon himself.
Oh wow.
Or it might not even matter because most of the stuff will have gone away by the time the 4 years is up. The statute of limitations will be over.
Yeah, the statute of limitations will roll off on most of that stuff.
Yeah,
So
a lot of
it's
it's
like
actually the stuff in the stuff in New York they're going to be fighting about because a lot of that is actually passed. I don't know, guys. Who am I voting for? I have no idea. Oh, I don't know.
We don't even have a solid candidate pool yet.
No.
It's currently it looks like. Oh, you mean so it would be DeSantis versus Kennedy, but nobody's voting for Kennedy because nobody knows what he's saying. I like the guy, but he's like, Jay, let's go see Sean, and we're gonna move that car, and you're like, okay, dude, you're brilliant, but go get your voice fixed. Why he thought he could win with that voice? And it's a shame that we're that kind of country, but we are, and you better get up there. Now, one of the reasons people like Trump, I heard him a little while ago ranting and raving, talking about how the Democrats are complete idiots and morons. Those people want to hear that. And right now with Joe Biden up there, it's not even hard to tell them that.
Right.
What do you mean?
Not
No,
a
I'm not
stretch.
independent.
Not by any means.
No, at least I'm not an independent. I would be better. Centrist would be better. Centrist, whatever you want to call it. No, independents are flaky and don't know what they want. No, they really don't. Sometimes they're Democrats. See, for me, I am a centrist, so I'm looking for the things that helps me, helps my family, helps in there, and something that rides the middle that's not going to make complete and utter chaos with both sides. And more of the country's moving out of being a Republican or Democrats, but we still are letting them decide our elections right now. We don't have to. We just do it. It's a creature of habit. No. What do you mean? Am I married? How much money you got? How much money you got? Well, I mean, I'm just saying, how much money you got? No, I'm expensive, man. I'm just telling you ahead of time. I am not a cheap date. Or you want to see my eyes like they're green. But I'm not a cheap date. I'm just warning you ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Yes. Jay's my broker, man. So you better watch it. He's going to want 15%. And then he's going to want to give Sean just a kickback. So that's going to be like 20%.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I'm not cheap, so you have to send a limo for me and stuff. I'm just,
top shelf scotch.
That's right.
Cheap per shot.
Or a good whiskey because I like a good whiskey sour. Oh yes, That's a must. You got to have
Dude,
good
you're
whiskey sour.
talking back in the 70s about whiskey sours.
I like a good whiskey sour, man. I can't help it.
Damn.
It's
That's old school there.
Well, no, if I run across the clips of Biden, I'll post them up for y'all. It's but I mean, right off the bat, here we are. We're already bitching. We want the FBI to do something. As soon as the FBI starts doing something, people start threatening them, and it's got to be Democrats because who else is going to threaten the FBI?
All right, didn't Merrick Garland appoint that one dude?
That special counsel, which I have not heard anything about. I mean, he just got appointed and just disappeared. And he's just going to come back and say, "Oh, there's nothing about Biden or there's nothing about Biden or what's his name, Hunter." Bullshit. And if he does, then everybody's going to say the same thing. Well, we knew it was politically motivated in the beginning. But that's like when they put that Derman guy out there. Everybody said that he was going to ream Trump. Come to find out, he cleared Trump.
Yeah.
So. The MQ-25 Stingray. No, I'm not putting a picture of it. You're not getting me arrested. I don't want the Fed kicking in my door and saying, "Oh, that's classified, Joe." Now wait, that's something I wanted to bring that up. Well, hold on. What did I do myself? Did I knock myself off the camera?
Yes, you did.
I guess I did. That's something I wanted to bring up earlier. So, we used to talk about this about 10 years ago about carbon-based computers. So now they got one. It's a liquid computer made from DNA. So the carbon-based one of the big deals about the carbon-based computers was they didn't produce heat, or if they did, they managed it so well it didn't matter. So 100 gigahertz was nothing for one of those. This is even better. This is going to push speeds that I don't even know what we're going to need it for, unless we're just trying to crack major things in the universe, because an ordinary citizen like us wouldn't know what to do with it. I mean, I could run the whole network, my whole home, and everything else on the damn thing. And they're really advanced, guys. It's the best thing, as I would tell you, is just when you get some free time, sit down and just read, because it's a lot of little things you got to be paying attention to when you look at these, because they're liquid based. Yeah, they're made from DNA strands, and it's liquid DNA.
Wow,
it's got to be interesting. Joe Biden's your daddy. Oh, then you must be Hunter. What are you calling into our show for, Hunter? We don't like you here. we know you. You are not liked here, man. You need to go back to China, man.
Not yet. Wait until the 24th when my son is back home from China. Then you can go over there.
They let's see. Oh wait, what's this one? Oh yeah. Half of Americans have little or no confidence in the DOJ's handling of Hunter Biden's probe.
Yeah.
This is getting bad because the Democrats. So 59% of Democrats already said they thought that the Trump thing was election interference. They've already said that. Yeah. 59% of them. So even the Democrats are kind of like, "What are y'all doing? You're going to you're jeopardizing," because they're jeopardizing their party. Because if it breaks out, and we find out a lot of this stuff is true, it's going to really damage the party for a long time.
It's going to hurt. It's going to really do a lot of damage to the government.
Actually, Janine, I'm drinking coffee.
Not all Democrats are dumb, but the ones up there in DC are. They really are.
Everybody in DC
the ones that are in charge of the vote. Yeah.
Everybody in DC is dumb. Let's just not even beat around a freaking bush. Everybody up there is dumb. Shapley claims FBI tipped off people close to Hunter Biden and his father about investigative steps being taken in the case that the DOJ restricted. Oh, so FBI is tipping off the people so they can go run and hide and get rid of the evidence. Oh man, come on! I mean, what we need? There's something. See, the DOJ is supposed to stop this. He should have already had whoever arrested or put under investigation or whoever it is. But I guess they're working for this guy. They're just like, well, we probably work for this Mr. DOJ guy. What is that, Heather? I don't know. Evidence against Biden grows. Democrats circle the wagon. So what they mean, guys, is the other day They found 1,000 emails in his archives going to one of the companies that Hunter Biden sat on. Now, remember, Joe said he had no interaction with Junior while he was on any of these boards. So right there, that's 1,000 emails that he was writing to his son while he was sitting on the board of this company. So right, he just lied. Then, thanks to the museum, they told us that he had three. I was going to call them acronyms. What were they? He had three different names he used for writing emails to people. 5,600 of these, and some of these going to other companies. He's in trouble. I mean, when they get through going, what's going to happen is there's going to be a big email dump like there was with Hillary. Oh, yeah, well, they're going to have to put somebody in jail for that because this is too serious here. So, and then they're finding more and more evidence. And then the whistleblower, the guy who started all this from the IRS guy, the Congress was giving him shit. The Democratic Congress was giving him shit. He was on CNN, not on CNN, NBC the other night. And they said, well, you're going to have to approve all this. And he looked up at the host and smiled. And he said, well, I have documents. And I have not heard the Democrats talk about this since.
Wow.
So somebody's in deep shit. Guys, what can you do? I mean, it's just, Biden, it's just, we talk about all this corruption about Trump, but we don't want to talk about all this corruption with Biden. And no, I talk about both because they both drive me crazy. At least Trump still has his facilities together, his faculties together. His brain still works.
He doesn't seem to be brain affected. Yeah.
Yeah. He still seems pretty sharp. So, well, let's see.
Let's get a whole new media outlet and just get rid of ABC, NBC, CBS. Put in Louisiana, Mississippi news and just tell the truth.
Well, what's funny about all this, and I was talking with a friend of mine about this on air a couple of weeks ago. So local news, wherever you are, doesn't matter what state you're in, local news is usually honest because they have to adhere to journalism standards. And national news also has to adhere to journalism standards or they could lose their license to broadcast. So they're usually fairly honest. They'll try to tilt it to whatever side their network believes, but they have to stay within guidelines. But MSNBC and Fox are getting cable news, and cable news can say whatever the bleep, 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 bleep they want to bleep and say. So now I've noticed that a lot of companies like Roku and Vizzo and Apple TV have started marketing them opinion news. Instead of news, they said opinion news because that's what it is. It's not real news. It's just whatever the blank this company wants to say about whatever the blank they want to say about somebody. And unfortunately, cable is an open thing that no one can seem to control. There's no real regulations on cable. It's cable is you have to narrate your children from not watching the crap. So, I like to catch.
It's becoming like those things like Chive and Onion. It's becoming entertainment news with fake stories and fake opinions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like wrestling. It's it's well, I mean, we all people used to argue all the time wrestling wasn't fake, but all you had to do was watch it to know it was, and now that's just how our news is. It's fake. No, guys, you can watch your local news. Local news is usually pretty good. It's talking about your local stories and what's going on.
National stuff that's getting political and
look. I have a problem with ABC, especially David Muir, 6:30 to 7 nighttime. I mean, first of all, that's a half hour of the most depressing news that I have ever seen in my entire life. Okay.
Now, but that's not him. That's his programmer or his producer doing that crap. He said, and a lot of people want to be as depressing or as scary as they can be because they think that's going to bring the news people back. But, a long time ago when I first started doing news, I had a rule that I laid down with Stephanie. No matter what we were doing, no matter how bad the news got, every show was ended with a positive story, and we still do it today. And and the reason why is because it's not all bad news. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of what out there, but just to tell this to people. So most people didn't know this, but most cancer stage 1 or 2, most of it like 90-something%, it's curable right off the bat. You don't have to die from cancer anymore. Even stage 3, a lot of times curable, and even some cancers in stage 4 can be cured. It's a big step from when I was a kid. You got cancer, it didn't matter what stage it was, you were dead. Not because of
Yeah, you
cancer,
were
so much
gone.
because of radiation. They used to try to kill the cancer, killed you. It's so we've gotten better. Now we're learning that we don't necessarily need to radiate stuff. We can find other ways to take it out. So we may
There's some
actually see
laser
it.
surgery now that target certain cancer cells. So
And now we know instead of irradiating the whole body, you can take a little pill and set it next to the cancer and do it that way instead of having to irradiate the whole body. So it's I mean, we're learning and we're getting better and things are changing, but unfortunately, current I haven't seen the world this bad in a long time. It's everybody seems to be antsy. Everybody seems to be pissed. You've got China wanting to start wars. You've got Russia in a war. You got America.
Yeah.
Who would run it if we got in a war? Kamala Harris? Really?
No.
Yeah.
We might have to let Hillary in office for that. At least we know she can fight. The murderous bitch that she is.
She fights dirty, but she'll win the war.
Yeah, she'll win the war. New record: Firefly Aerospace launches Space Force mission 27 hours after receiving orders. Y'all don't know what Space Force is. I've met 2 of the generals over there. And thanks to Writers of the Future, by the way. Interesting group of people. Matter of fact, John and Emily are space cadets. That's what they call them because they're I guess they're part of the friends with the program.
Are they Space Force part of the Air Force?
No, I don't think they are. I think when Trump made them, I think
it's like the Marines, though. It is an offshoot, but it's an independent service now.
Yeah, Trump told them he wanted them to be independent of everybody else. So I don't know. And in the beginning, I think that's what they were. They're just like what Jay said. They were an offshoot, but now I think they're just on their own. Well, because there was going to be a big argument about who should command space, the Navy or the Air Force. Well, the Navy, of course, thinks they should be because it's big, vast, like oceans to them. So they're thinking, yeah, we should be in control. And the Air Force is no. But so the difference is Air Force people. Your airplanes are stationed on bases in certain areas. The Navies are stationed in carrier, floating all around the entire damn world. That's just a big difference. So y'all should be stationed on planets, and the Navy should be out in space. I don't really care, to be honest with you. As long as we get into space, I don't give a shit who's running it. I've been advocate for public space for a long time for private industry to take over space, and it has worked in a major way. I preached this for 3 decades, and I kept, no, that's never going to work. Well, guess what, guys? In less than 10 years, they've done 3 times as much as NASA could ever think. Think about it. Elon has launched more space shots than anybody on the whole planet combined now. Yes. I'm talking from start to finish. Yes. It's insane. And he he reuses them and he freaking lands them. China said they're a decade away from landing them.
There's very little destroyed equipment in their takeoffs and landings.
Did Elon, I heard this in the news that Elon sold the rights to Starlink to our military. Have you heard any of that like that?
He might have. Starlink is serious because nobody realized this when he first put Starlink up, and I forgot now. I think altogether there's going to end up being 12,000 satellites up there. But so, and I think it was like 3,600 now or 5,600. But Putin, Elon was talking with Putin trying to get a peace deal with the Ukraine. Putin got all snotty and started talking about launching nukes. And Elon simply said, I'll just knock your nuke down. I'll just run one of my satellites in it and knock your nukes into space. And Putin said something else. And Elon said, I can produce these satellites and put them in space much faster than you can produce nuclear weapons. He said, and I will knock them all down. Mm-hmm. So that took a big threat away from our country. I mean, he's got 5,600 that he's sitting on rockets and some in subs. So anything intercontinental ballistic, he can knock out. And that had to irk China's ass, too, because they're building more nukes. Now that China's thinking, well, wait, he can just knock them out of the way. What the hell is this? I mean, and he's putting more and more of these up. So I think the military realized that this is a great program. So they can still use it to supply internet to everybody on the planet because that's their goal, they'll be able to eavesdrop now on everybody on the planet, because anybody who's got Starlink will get eavesdropped on. And
That's the NSA's goal.
yeah. So that's and he'll probably make records amounts of money, and he may even keep the contract and make him for it.
There's also, we also got to kind of put it in perspective for everybody. 1960s, NASA was given around $20 billion to get us to the moon. Adjusted for today's dollars, it's $60 billion to get us to the moon. And when they did get us to the moon after Apollo 1, like a $1 billion rocket for the time of the money explodes on the tarmac, kills 3. They were just doing tests, and the thing explodes on the tarmac, kills 3 astronauts. By the end of the decade, we're on the moon. But every time one of those things went up, 90% of the equipment they sent up is destroyed on the way. The only thing that comes back is the command service module, the little tiny toaster with 3 dudes in it. And I guess if you calculate the money on that, that probably was like, $250 million just for that little piece of equipment. And the only thing that comes back. Look at today's rockets. Elon Musk, they go up, they come down, he reuses them. No money lost, no equipment lost. It's a much more time efficient and money efficient system.
It is a better system. It's I mean, Elon's changing the world for the better, and he'll probably be.
Why? I don't know. And that boggles my mind, Joe, because why would one guy just want to do this?
But stop and think for a minute. He's not the only one that's done this. Edison's done it. Franklin's done it.
You got what's his face, Bezos.
Yeah, every now and then, Hawkins has done it. I mean, every now and then, there's just a great man who wants to do great things for us. Nobody knows why. We're just grateful that they happen along. And it's not. And in all fairness, ladies, there's actually great women out there that want to do this. They just want to do it. Now, with the Elon thing, unfortunately, I have this. I don't know how many of y'all have ever seen James Bond Moonraker. I get this thing about Elon that he's going to build this big, massive colony on Mars, put a couple million people in it, and all of a sudden one day Earth's going to go bloop. I don't know what it is.
As long as he doesn't go full on Drax on us, he will be okay.
So he wants to build Mustville. He said that he can write a better constitution than the one we had, based on the one that we have. That just scares me right off the bat. But it'll be up to you if you want to go there or not, So eventually, he said there'll be trips back and forth from Earth to Mars, and until such a point, the way he's saying this, he's going to claim Mars as his. Once he gets 4, 5, 6 million people there, he's going to claim Mars as his. And I bet you he will build weapons that we have not seen to protect his planet. So he said he wants to bring all 10 and 11 of his kids, whatever he's got now, to Mars and found a new world. And if anybody can do it, it's him. So I think part of what he's doing is to help us, but part of it, I think, is just greed. And greed in a different way, not so much for money, but for what he thinks is the perfect world, which maybe he has a better view. I don't know until he does it. Scares the bejesus out of me, though. But as long as he's doing good stuff for us, I'm all for it.
Vaguely territorial and dictatorial all at the same time. Like he's going to be a new Hitler on Mars.
He'll definitely be a new player. He'll have his own country, his own world. And if Earth keeps going the way it is, I guarantee you a lot more people are going to want to go there. So,
the crazy thing is, guys, we'll be dead when this shit happens.
No, I don't think we will be.
No?
Maybe.
He says he's 2020 sometime in the next 8 years or next 6 years, they want to do a launch to Mars. And after that, they want to start launching every 6 months to send supplies. So any point after that, he can go and start putting a colony up. So we may, if we live to be 70 or 80, we may see the big colonization of Mars.
He's going to have to send a lot of equipment to get that atmosphere going, though. Otherwise,
he's not right off the bat.
Buildings.
So I used to say this all the time. The first place we should go is Olympus Mons. I guarantee you there are big chunks of hollow areas in there that are closed off to the atmosphere outside. that could be used and
Yeah.
easily sealed to start terraforming, to start an
It
atmosphere
might
to
even have
survive
breathable
there.
oxygen already in them.
Yeah, and there may be water there because now we know there's flowing water on Mars. So, you know, at least NASA admits now that we'll probably find life on Mars. They're thrilled that we're going to find life on several other places in our solar system, which I've been preaching for since I've been on the air, so about 28 years. You know, what's interesting is what we found when we went to Pluto. Pluto is just a live planet. We thought it was going to be just a big chunk of frozen ice, and it turns out it's not. And they think there might be life there. They definitely think the two inner water moons have life on them. So, and there may be primitive life. And which one is it? Io? Which one's the volcano one? Isn't it Io? I always get them confused. But
Io is the volcanic one. There's Europa is the frozen one around Saturn, and then they just recently did a story about Enceladus, the moon of Jupiter, or moon of Saturn rather, that is like the Europa moon on Jupiter. It's a frozen planet with apparently ice tectonics on the front, so there's a liquid sea below the shell of ice. So that's another player in possibly getting life.
And then there was that Circeus or Sirius, whatever it was. They had lights that were changing.
Yes.
So
Ceres I'm sorry, CERES is one of the big asteroids.
That's what it said. It's so I don't know, guys. I used to say this all the time. I thought we'd find life in 15 or 20 different places in our solar system. A lot of it might be the small microbiological stuff, biological stuff, but I think we're going to find some decent size.
That's how we started, allegedly.
And I know in that one, I think it was Europa, when they put that probe down, they saw something big and black. It looked like a whale. It came up, kind of humped down, and then took off again.
Where is Europa?
It's Jupiter's moon. One of
Jupiter's moons.
Yeah, Jupiter's got a lot of moons. Hey,
Jupiter's
Siri,
got like 62 moons, and Saturn has over 85.
How many moons does Jupiter have?
From 9planets.org. Though Jupiter has 79 moons,
Yeah,
63 of them are less than 10 kilometers, 6.2 miles in diameter.
Wait, how's that? That's tiny. Yes, guys, I have Siri and Alexa in the studio when we want to use it. Well, hey, you might as well. We got them there. You might as well ask them.
Ask Siri if the LSU Tigers football team is going to win the college championship.
Oh, I don't know. They sure killed Grambling, man. 75 to whatever it was, 10. They were pissed from the week before when they lost to Miami or to Florida
State.
Yeah, that's the second time they beat them, opening up, second time in a row. But all that did was fire them up for last year, so we'll see how that makes them this year. Saints are doing okay, so we'll see how they go too. Who that said they're going to the Super Bowl this year, man? It's going to be either Joe Burrows or Mahomes. That's who's going to the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a big fan of both of them. Oh no, we'll get back to Biden in a minute, but
no,
just because y'all, no, I'm just
talking football. We're talking football, Joe. This is what's on my screen.
Let's see.
Talking football, huh?
I don't know what football is.
Yeah, let me get this picture up so you guys can see. I just recently painted one of my walls. Come on, click. There we go.
Yeah.
There you go, Joe. Throw that up.
Yeah, I don't see nothing. I can't see it. Yeah, where'd you send it to? Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Damn it, mouse.
Present in the show here.
Let's see.
Did you send it an email, Jay?
Mama,
let's try that again. It must have.
Well, I'm on vacation. If anybody cares.
Got it. Yeah.
Vacation's not. Well, Jay's on vacation. Screw both y'all. How y'all like that? I ain't no damn vacation.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. I don't never get no damn vacation.
I got a broken foot vacation.
Hey, vacation, man. I'm just saying.
There we go. Try that.
Okay, I think it came up. Add to stage. Well, dun. Hey, that's illegal, man. That you can't have that up there. That's illegal, man.
Well, you know what? The Native Americans, they want that back.
Yeah,
They don't
Yeah.
because
they
I,
don't
I
want the commanders. They don't want.
when this all started, there was one Native American woman who was pushing the advocacy group. There was other Native Americans saying, "No, we're fine with it. We're fine with it." But because it was a bunch of crazy liberals, look. The liberals want to do harm to whatever they can do harm to these days. They think they're helping us out, but no, most of us because
yeah, I
really,
mean,
anybody listening to this, I
so
want to know how many liberals out there really actually care about Native Americans. I really want to know. If you're in California, I
and
definitely
then
want to know because
here's
y'all are voting for reparations for blacks. So I really want to know how many of y'all care
yeah,
about Native
especially,
Americans.
but listen to the history of the team. The team starts in Boston, 1931. It's the Boston Redskins. Their frontline receivers, all four of them, Native American Indians. Their quarterback at that first team, American Indian. Head coach, American Indian. Then they moved to Washington D.C. and they wanted, I think it was Coach George Allen. I'm not sure, but one of the coaches in the '70s got together with one of the heads of an Indian tribe near the D.C. area, and this Indian chief designed the Indian head logo, the spearhead logo, the font, Washington Redskins, the wording that it's written as, and the color scheme, burgundy, gold, and white. And I don't see how white people can have a problem with that if this is designed by a legitimate American Indian chief of a tribe.
Because what they did is
They've taken representation.
some white lady got
What they've done
some
is they've
Native
taken
American
representation of
lady
these people out
all
of
riled up.
sports.
How
Yeah.
come Florida State,
It's sickening.
the Seminoles, in
They're the
Florida
only
State.
ones, and the Atlanta Braves, Cleveland Indians changed to the Guardians.
Yeah,
They no longer have Indian logos anymore.
I would like to
I
see
noticed that hasn't really changed around where we live. They're like, screw you if you don't want to, you don't come
You
to
know
the
what?
games.
I would like to see them go back to the Washington Redskins. I mean,
There's
to
some
me,
talk about that. There's a few co-owners now. One co-owner says never, but he could be voted out. But the fact of the matter is that we took the country from these poor people. We gave the U.S. government, the U.S. Army, gave smallpox infected blankets to women and children. How is that more offensive than calling them Redskins? They called us Whiteskins. We called them Redskins. It wasn't like, hey, the N-word, but that's how we refer to them, as having red skin. They have red tan skin. We have white skin. It wasn't an issue back 100 years ago. I mean, that's just how they were called. It wasn't a derogatory term, and it still isn't.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's what going too far. That's when you go get crazy politically correct. That's what happens. It's like when they
It's the
decided
same things happening
what
with
you're going to
Civil
write.
War stuff, and then breaking down Civil War memorials
So I was
you know,
reading.
Southern generals and Northern generals alike.
I was reading the selection of books that you see when you're going to school in the North, when you see what you're going in the South. A lot of it's pretty much the same. But I noticed now that several schools in New York are putting on the transvestite shows. None in the South are. It's not going to happen down here. We're like, sorry, guys. You want to do a transvestite show when the kid's 21, he wants to go see one, he can go ahead and go see one. It's not. And then the Air Force got in trouble. The Navy really screwed up, made a recruitment video out of one.
yeah, they did.
And it hurt them major. People started wanting to retire, and people wanted out of the service. Nobody wanted to stay in. Nobody
Have you
wanted
seen
to
their
join.
new commercial?
I haven't seen it yet.
Have you seen the Navy's new commercial?
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay, so it shows a few things. Like one of the images is some crows fly from the underbrush, and then they kind of morph into drones as like bad guy drones, and it looks like the U.S. Navy sends off some sort of EMP and destroys all the drones. So they're showing that they have some kind of technology that they're not supposed to like maybe tell anyone about. So we know they have the 3 rail guns. There's two on 2 destroyers and one on a stealth sub out that are deployed now. But
yeah, they're
what if
taking
they
them
have
off
an
the
EMP
Zimwalt.
weapon? I mean, think about it.
Oh no, we got EMP.
Yeah,
We've
the
had
zoom
them for a
on, and there's
while.
one other.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
had EMP weapons for a while, but it's we hadn't had long range ones until recently. But we've had EMP weapons for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's It's I know when I was in the Navy, one of the things we used to do was shield our electronics from EMP pulses. So a lot of the Navy plane. Oh, never mind. Let's move on. I'll probably get sanctioned for that, so we'll just move on. I know Russia and China knows this by now, but last time I talked about it, I got popped for it. So I was like, "Oh, you're not supposed to talk about that, Joe." So hey, well, let me put it another way, ladies and gentlemen. We're the most advanced Air Force and Navy in the world. We know we have to shield ourselves against nuclear flash EMP. So I would think by now maybe we had developed something. There we go. That's how it's called skirting around it. Frankie Marrero. Where you from, Frankie Marrero? Chicago, baby. That's where you from. You from Chicago. What you got for us tonight?
The Windy City.
You part of the Biden crime family. Is that what you're trying to tell us? We better back off. That's what you tell us. We better back off. People in the South don't like that kind of talk. I'm just telling you. It's dangerous to be talking like that down here. And then people in Pennsylvania really don't like it either. If you think someone's
doing a bad job, then you're welcome to speak up about it. And I did vote for this last presidential election. I'm not telling you who I voted for, but I don't like what Biden's doing. And I'm going to speak up about it. I think he's doing a horrible job.
We Zeke Heil Biden.
Yeah.
I hate the bastard.
He's the next Fuhrer.
I hate him. I don't like him. I really don't like the word hate, but I hate that. What he has done, I just get frustrated when I see it, when I hear it,
by doing what he did to turn off all of Trump's programs that got us our economy going really good. That's just out of pure spite. That's not because it's just only because they hate Trump. It's not because Trump did well. They wanted to make it look like he didn't do well, and by doing all this, they've hurt the entire country. It is absolutely worse, economically speaking, right now than it was in 1929 when the gates crashed. But way back then,
yeah, there it is.
It's horrible.
But it is terrible, man. It is. Horrible.
Yeah, I mean, those who aren't making enough money are going to be forced to eat foods that are not good for them, like we were talking about earlier. I love corned beef hash, but it's going to make you fat. So
can I bring up something that I have seen the last 3 days, dudes? Please.
Yeah.
All right. Wendy's has given out 1-cent hamburgers from the 18th.
What?
1-cent hamburgers from September 18th to September 22nd. 1 cent.
Wow.
McDonald's is doing 50-cent cheeseburgers from the 18th to the 22nd. Now, all your conspiracy theorists are talking about, do not eat the burgers because the meat that makes the hamburgers for McDonald's and Wendy's comes from Bill Gates. And they think there could be a zombie apocalypse if you eat these burgers.
Some kind of RNA to change what you are. When
Bill don't want it. That's not what Bill wants. Bill is into eugenics though, so he'd like to see the population thin.
But so why are people freaking out about the 1-cent cheeseburger?
Because people are stupid. One thing you can count on any country. When you get groups of people together, they are just dumb, stupid, dumb ass people. So this has always bothered me. If I go in a crowd and pull somebody out of the crowd and explain something to them, they're like, oh yeah, okay. But if I go out to the crowd and tell them, oh, it's coming, they get crazy. They want to go killing people, rampaging. It's like it's in our DNA or something. Get the fire, get the pitchforks, let's go get.
Yeah, mob mentality.
It's just for some reason it's built into our DNA and we haven't got past it yet. But if you get people apart and separate, they're intelligent. It's not all of them, but most of them. But
not all of them.
Unfortunately, right now, our country is in a mob mentality zone. So the Republicans and the Democrats have huddled up, which is about 50% of the country. And the rest of us are like, what the fuck is going on? First off, why do things take so long to get? I mean, as far as when you go into a store or something these days, because I notice some places I go, they have no problem with stock. And some places I go, they seem to have a problem with stock. Mm-hmm. Now, like the beef down here, if it's a local company, then the beef's great. It's black Angus and it's easy to get. It's not a big deal. Same thing with chickens and eggs and pork. So we see lower prices on it, and even a lot of vegetables. But God help us if we want an avocado from California. First, it's going to take a month to get here. Damn thing's probably done riped out by the time it gets here. And they going to want $3 for the damn thing.
Yeah.
California, don't take this the wrong way, but you can keep your $3 avocado. How's that? And but if I want one of the Mexican avocados, I can get that for like 99 cents, and it's like 3 times the size. They're not as good, though. No, I agree. They're not as good. They're just not as good.
But it lasts longer on the shelf. But,
yesterday, a matter of fact, I went yesterday and picked up a half. So I picked up, okay, people, I shouldn't say this on the air. Y'all going to be jealous. But I went and picked up a filet half yesterday for $33. Got 9 steaks like this. Like this, 2-inches thick.
That's the worst cut of meat on the cow.
I had them trimmed out. The filet has to be, because a lot of people in our family can't eat. They can only have the filet or they can have the sirloin. That's all they can have because they can't have the fat. See, me, I go, when they put the ribeyes on sale for $140, I get a whole ribeye. And I get that son of a bitch cut about 2.5. The steaks come out to about 1.5 pounds each. And I get 14 of them. 14.
Dude, you're eating a roast. You're eating a freaking ribeye roast.
They're good, man. When you put them on the pit, they are good, man. They
I have to come down here to Mississippi.
We can't eat none of them thin steaks down here. We don't eat thin steaks down here. That's like a sin.
Same thing as you eating.
We can't eat them. We can't eat them.
You know how much a whole filet Angus filet mignon is? $160 up here.
Wow.
A whole filet.
Wow.
Yeah.
We get them for like half that.
We
get them for less than half that.
Well, we had a good deal on the radio today. One of the delis had, or one of the meat cutters has a food truck in the mall parking lot in Hagerstown, and they were selling 20. I think he said New York strips for $20. That's $1 a steak.
Yeah, I don't trust.
I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
Well, I'll tell you what happened real quick. Yeah. I know we're getting off topic, but my partner and I were coming back off a big giant. This guy who was in town, he was selling a bunch of steaks. So we bought 2 cases. We bought some New York, some ribeye, some filets, some sirloin, a couple of little junk steaks, some flank steak, and something else. And they were really pretty. But they tasted like someone would just dip them in some sage grass and was sticking them in your mouth. They were the nastiest. We ended up giving them away. I mean, we're talking a couple $100 worth of steaks. I was like, these are the, and I told people, if you like sage, you'll love these steaks. If not, you will hate these damn. They're nasty.
I think those are great. Open.
Oh yeah, open range. I agree. That's what they are. Because down here, what they do is, so we get like alfalfa grass. So they feed these cows really well, and then about 2 months before slaughter, maybe 3, they put them on this. It's like a molasses oats mix. It's kind of sweet. They love it. Them fucking cows eat it up like it's nothing. And then after all that, then when anyway, at a certain point, I was going to say something, but some people might be listening. So at a certain point, they decided to bring them to the slaughter and kill them. The meat is tender. It's got a beautiful flavor to it. And it's all local grown. You don't have to go across the country to get it. And there's other beef you can get down here. I mean, there's a couple other cuts. I mean, a couple other types of cow that we get beef from down here. But Black Angus is probably the most popular. It's because I've eaten some of that Wagyu steak now a few times now. And people, don't take this the wrong way. I ate what you would probably pay $1,000 for. I was in a high dollar dinner. Just recently. And I ate the steak. It's a good steak, but it's not worth $1,000. It's not worth $500. It's not worth $200. Okay. First off, and maybe it's just because I like that Black Angus, but I like this steak was heavily marbled, but it was a very, very thin marble. So it kind of gave me the sense of it divided the steak up too much. I just didn't like the way it came out, and I didn't find the fat as flavorful as people said, because in California they cut the fat off and they sell it in bags so you can cook other food in it. And I just didn't find it. I really didn't find it any better than any high dollar. I just ate uh, what you call it, a prime filet the other day with a friend of mine. And what do you mean, Jack? You don't know what a prime filet is? You have to figure it out. It was good. I mean, it was as good as that damn Wagyu steak I ate. And I ate several of that Wagyu burgers when I was down there, and I was kind of like, no, he knows about the cuts. I don't. Only cuts I know about is what I was taught when we used to butcher animals when I was young. And no, I don't do that anymore.
I did it still doing it for 26 years, dude. I know what we're talking about. I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, the Wagyu, right? We were selling it. It just started coming in. This was about 10 years ago when I worked for Giant Eagle. They brought it in. New York strips were going $98 a pound for that Wagyu beef cow stuff. But what my point is that Angus to me is the best. But there are also regular cows out there that have the same taste as a Black Angus. And it all comes down to a cow is a cow is a cow is a cow. Yes.
Don't say that. Don't come down here and tell these farmers that. They will bury you in a swamp somewhere, man. Feed you to the damn gators, Sean. Oh, my God.
But no, I'd rather buy off a farmer than I would.
See, well, that's what they do down here. So, with the exception of Walmart, and this cracks me up, people all the time that you see people in Walmarts down here buying beef. I would not. You can't pay me money to buy beef from Walmart. I'm not even going to lie. And especially when we have three.
Steak.
Well, we have 3 grocery stores here. One's a pretty big chain that only buy local. That's all they buy. They won't buy outside of the states unless they absolutely have to. And most of them are in 3 or 4 states anyway, so they have pretty good buying power. It's I don't know. I remember people say, "Oh, we couldn't get bread, we couldn't get eggs, we couldn't get chickens." I was like, "What? We're still not paying them, but like $1.15 for eggs." Some things I knew people were having problems with, but we weren't. Not that kind of stuff.
I because it's local. Got 36 36 eggs, so 672 eggs, $4.19 and for 18. So it was like just under $10.
Yeah, it's only about $1 more than we pay.
Yeah.
Did evidence of NASA find evidence?
I mean, that's the economy going back up in the air again.
Somebody told me the other day. They said, "Well," and we'll go back to this. Well, no, Glenn, we're going to go to another topic in a minute. But so this guy again telling me how good the economy is, and I have to look at him, and I always say the same thing: "How much do you make a year?" Yeah. And they're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, I'm just curious how much you make a year." Well, what does that got to do with anything? I said, "It makes a difference on how you see the economy.
Let's go with your perspective."
I said, "How often do you go fill up your car?" He said, "Well, I don't. Somebody else does it for me." I'm like, "Okay." I said, "That's all I needed to know." I said, "Yeah, for you, this is a good economy. Stock market's doing good. A lot of different markets are doing good. Other things you can invest in are doing good. That's just a good economy for you." I said, "Because you don't care if gas is $4 or $5 a gallon." He said, "Well, no." I said, "But I do." I said, "That makes a difference in what I have to charge my customers. Also makes a difference in how I'm going to feed my family." I said, I drive 100 miles each way every day. So if I'm paying, I was paying 99 cents on the Trump, I'm now paying $3. I mean, that's a big chunk of money every week. And I said, when you start adding up that yearly, that's a big money. I said, but it's more than that. I said, when you start thinking, I was paying 99 cents for a loaf of bread. Now I'm paying $3.50 for it. I'm paying 50 cents, but everything is going up at least 75% or more.
Yeah,
and I said,
you're not driving your Camry to work all the time. You have a truck that eats up a lot.
We
of
don't
gas.
even want to talk about that thing.
Yeah,
we don't even want to talk about that thing. No, we're not talking about that gas guzzling, whatever you want to call it. But the problem is, people, is for me personally, I have had to go up on my customers. So let's say I was charging them for like installing a light system or maybe a ballast. I was charging them $35. Now I'm charging them $65. So it's doubled. And frankly, it's not enough. And when we start going through We're just finishing up a condo job, and the place looks really good, but we should have charged $5,000 more than what we did. It's going to take us a while to get used to this because prices aren't coming down, so we're going to be forced to go up on our prices or starve, one or the other. Somebody said, well, if you can't get work, so I said, well, either way, I'm going to starve. If I can't pay my bills, I can't pay my bills. I said, so what do you mean? Eventually the radio station was paying my bills for a couple of years there, and then COVID came along and wrecked that. There's nobody to sue. Who? Wuhan? The government.
Yeah,
There's just nobody to sue.
And during the COVID thing, I can attest to this because I'm in the home improvement industry just as much as Joe is. I'm from the supplier end of it. There was a 4x8 plywood board that every construction company needs to use to build floors and walls. It was $17.52 before COVID. After COVID, this cheap board went up to $52 and change.
Yeah,
and then it came back down to like $35, and they're still not going any further down. You're lucky if you can find a 4x8 plywood board for under $20 anywhere in the country. You're very, very lucky.
Wow.
Yeah, everything's gotten stupid. I mean,
disgusting.
It's well, people. I mean, whether it's grocery, whether it's supplies, whether it's cars, it doesn't really matter what it is. Perfect example. I like these little square cake things, right? They used to be like $2.65, $3. So I looked at one today because I bought a banana pie. So I looked at it and I was like, "Ooh, yeah, which is $7." The thing ain't worth $7. Plus, it's gotten smaller, and that's another problem. You go to McDonald's, quarter pound is smaller. They're saying, "Well, it's still a quarter pound." Well, that's true. The beef patty is still a quarter pound, but the bun is smaller. So yeah. And everything that goes on it is smaller because that bun is smaller. And don't tell me it's not because I used to be a general manager for McDonald's. Yeah, they wanted me to become a supervisor, and I said, no, I got to go find a real job. Well, no. So, in all fairness, people, if you're out there thinking about being a fast food manager, McDonald's is the company to be. Now, this was almost 40 years ago.
$1 million a year.
They paid me $125,000 a year plus bonus. My bonus, because I was on the beach, was usually about $200. So I had to go to hamburger college, which was weird. So it put me in around $350, $375 a year for managing a hamburger joint on the beach. Now this was 40 years ago. So you know how much money that would be today, right? Which would be about $1.2 million, $1.3 million years. So, and if you're in a place like in a parade zone or something like that, the amount of money you can rack in is unbelievable. But just an everyday McDonald's, can make us several $1 million a year and clear a profit. So, and you know what? And we all know better than to eat the crap, and we still do. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I'll tell you what, a freshly cooked quarter pound is good, man. All juicy and stuff. And
Big Mac.
After watching when they screwed that through the machines, I should never even want to look at one of those, but I still do. I can't help it. Because when I was managing for them, in all fairness, everything was 100% pure beef. All the vegetables was fresh. Everything was good. We even made our own biscuits in store. So it was a little different then. But I'm going to tell y'all a secret. This works for Taco Bell too, because I was a supervisor for them. You can actually, if you want to keep your inventories better, at McDonald's, you can order not 100% pure beef, but 50-50 soybean, 50% beef. You can order it, and they ship it in the same red box, so nobody really knows. And also, at Taco Bell, you can do the same thing. You can get 50% soybean. So, and people want to know why it always makes them sick. That's why, because the soy tends to, how can I say this politely, clean people out.
Right. Yeah.
Yes,
it's like a
things you didn't want to know. Yes. Well, that's what happens
Yeah.
when you work. I was young, guys. Come on. I just got out the military. I was looking for something to do, and I wasn't going to go flip hamburgers. So I got to be the boss.
Back then, McDonald's was a solid company. Right now, they're still a solid company, but now their food's a lot less healthy for you.
I was 24 when I went to work for McDonald's. And the only reason why is we had just got a place in the Gulf Coast, and Joey was like, I think, a year old. And so I was on unemployment because the company that I worked for in Louisiana had gone out of business. And I had been working for myself, making pretty good money, but I still had I don't know, like a year left on my unemployment. So we moved to the coast, and I got bored. I was sitting there watching the sun come up one morning. I said, I got to go find something. I can't do this. And I just happened to have been in there, and the guy said, we got to talking about the casinos coming. I said, well, I might go work for a casino. He said, let me tell you what you could make here. I'm like, dude, I'm not coming to flip hamburgers. You lost your mind. He said, come be my morning cook. And he said, just come be my biscuit cook in the morning. He said, I guarantee you in less than 5 months, you'll be making at least 50. I said, okay. And sure enough, 2 months in, he'd already promoted me to I forgot what kind of manager it was. Then they promoted me to assistant, which was 65, and then to GM, which was 85. And then actually went up to 125. And then with the bonuses, because I didn't realize when I first got promoted how much bonus we got. I thought it was gonna be like $1,000, $5,000, maybe 10, 250 G's, man. I was like, what? I was like, I may never leave. I couldn't do it though. I just working with teenagers all the time was too much for me.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
my,
after
my,
they
my
stole,
girlfriend was just recently working at McDonald's, and she had to leave because the drama these kids do. They don't do their own. They don't do what they're told. They don't do their jobs. They're standing around playing, grab ass and kissy face in the kitchen.
yeah.
And it's like, look, either you go do your job or get the hell out. Let someone else do your job. So she
And
left.
see, and well, that's a real problem right now because I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. So we're looking for help because we want to expand the business and get some more work. And companies like Angie List have been calling me and asked me, why don't we come work for them? And I said, well, I don't like paying all these revenues and fees and shit. And they said, well, wait, let's see if we can't work something else. So they've been bugging me because they can't find a contractor in the area where I live. There's just hardly any contractors. And I've been working out in New Orleans. I said, well, let me think about it and see where it goes. But so we're looking for help. So we're looking just laborers, nothing special, just laborers. Everybody wants $30 an hour. I said, I am not paying a laborer $30 an hour. I just can't do it. It's just, I'd have to charge my the customer so much it wouldn't be worth the freaking job. And but then I was talking to one of my customers the other day, and he said he had I was busy. I said, look, just leave the dishwasher alone. I'll have one of the guys come by and put it in because we charge, I think it's $150 or $175 to install them. So he calls this plumber to come out and do it. Plumber charged him $475.
Wow.
Same thing. We install hot water heaters for around $350. They come out and charge $800. And I'm like, well, apparently there's room to go up on my prices, aren't there? I don't know, man. I don't want to feel like I'm ripping people off, but I got to make a living. And so we're just steady going up.
Joe, you want to hear something disgusting? At the place where I work for installation of a toilet, it's $197. Just for a toilet. And toilets cost $200. $197 to install a toilet.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And most of the toilets I have, the cheapest toilet I have at my work is $99 or $89. The most expensive one is $299. So think about that. You buy a $300 top of the line Kohler toilet, it's going to cost you another $200 to have someone put it in for you.
So it got to where now what we do now down here is, so we charge $145 to install a toilet, but we charge $75 to assemble it.
So okay. Okay.
Okay.
My God, I go on YouTube and I do it myself.
It's not that hard.
I called my buddy in Chambersburg who I used to work with at my other job. He came down. I bought him lunch. We put it in about an hour and a half, and boom, bang, we're done. It works fine. I got to put some shims under it because it's a little rocky, but other than that, it works.
Yeah, get you those little wooden slide shims. The ones we use for flooring and flooring. There's somewhere else we use it for all kind of damn shit.
I have the big long black plastic shims.
Yeah, don't use the plastic ones.
For the toilet.
Don't use the plastic ones. Use the wooden ones. You might have to change them every once in a while, but use the wooden ones. That way, if for some reason the toilet shifts, there's extra force, the wood will give where the plastic won't. And believe it or not, porcelain's not as strong as it looks. I can't tell you how many of them we've changed where people, I guess, because they lean back on them and they mess them all up. You change around. It's I'm sorry, guys. We won't talk about that no more. Oh wait, hold on. We got to play this. Wait, let me put this on here. Where Where is this? Present. Dun, 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 dun. No, I need a really rich sugar mama. I mean, we're talking like stinking filthy rich. And I'm telling you, I'm spoiled. All right, what is this? Okay.
Oh,
This is Joe Biden. Let's see.
This come out of Samaria? Well, hello. 3 fingers. Wow, if that doesn't look like E.T.
No, a lot of people think that it's a bunch of bones put together and laid out. That's bullcrap. If that's anything, that's Project Bluebeam happening there. I think.
Or it was, or his lens flare from the light the cameras are looking at. Tic tac.
Roger 159. Permission to
Engage.
Fox tries Charlie there, buddy. What is this one?
You know what? If it was an alien, why didn't they just shoot at it, man? They had it. They had it.
Okay. Rule number 1. It's like shooting at Bigfoot. Don't shoot at Bigfoot. Don't shoot at aliens. Because aliens might decide to shoot back, and we may not have the technology to put up with them shooting back.
Okay.
It's
and we know that they have on several occasions shot back.
Yeah, so Putin. Oh, I forgot about this. So we'll just talk about this. We don't have to have it up there, but so the Ukraine took out one of Putin's high dollar air defense systems, $500 million system. They took it out yesterday or day before yesterday. Well, Putin's got to be crapping himself. Nice. They tore up one of his ships today, even though Putin managed to sink 3 of theirs, but one of their big missile cruisers they tore up today too. I mean, the Ukraine. I just what the hell is going on here? Why don't Russia just go over there and kick their ass like we did in Desert Storm? I don't. And they're right there. They don't even have to haul in troops. They just fly them over there. What are they scared we're going to invade if they go over there and kick the Ukraine's ass real quick?
No, I think they're
probably have because they would have
NATO, dude. NATO would be just like right there.
Yeah.
And
that's
NATO
exactly it. Because in order for them to get their troops over there, they're going to have to violate several NATO countries' airspace just to get over there.
No. They have a border with the Ukraine. They can just fly right their asses right up in there. If they really wanted to, they could pull their troops off of Poland, pull their troops off of Georgia, and just bring them over there. That would be about 1 million, well, about 400,000 troops, tons of tanks and planes and shit. They could overwhelm them. They just won't do it.
Think about this logically, though. Think about this logically, though, Joe. Do you think Putin's really going to take his assets off the Kola Peninsula and have them fly to southern Russia first and then into Ukraine? No, he's going to have them fly right across the top of Europe, right across all the NATO countries just to get there. That's the fastest, straightest route. He's not going to make them fly up over the peninsula into Russia.
Flying over NATO countries could be dangerous. That could be dangerous.
It's a dangerous situation, absolutely.
But he could probably get permission for it.
But, I mean,
they might give him permission for it. Now, you do know that the Ukrainian Secret Service says that Putin is dead.
No.
This is a double. Yeah, they said he is dead. He died of cancer a couple of weeks back. So they don't know who's keeping this. Now, I did hear one of Russia's biggest oligarchs yesterday on Russian television talking about that Russia shouldn't tolerate this anymore, and it should swiftly attack the United States, Poland, the United Kingdom, and I forgot who else. I'm thinking, what are you, stupid?
I would think Turkey, where we have a lot of missile bases.
But I'm thinking, what are you, stupid? The Ukraine could take you. The UK could take you. You don't even piss us off, because once you attack one or two of us, that's NATO. You don't attack all of NATO now.
That's World War III all over again. They're done.
And now that we have our own little missile defense shield, so they can't be launching nukes anymore, it changes the game. And see, China's got to think about this now. They were developing nukes for the same reason that we and Russia did, but now that we have something that can knock down their nukes, that changes everything. And plus, we have pretty good defense shield at home. People, it does change everything. It allows the United States to use tactical nukes if they want to, without fear of retaliation. That's a whole different thing. That's like when we blew up Japan. I mean, could you imagine you could hit 5 major cities in Russia, and Russia's only got 180 million people. After you hit them 5 million, there'll be 50 million people left in Russia, and most of them will be older people that they ain't gonna fight. Now, China's different, but you can hit 5 cities in China and kill 600 million people. Yeah. So that drops their population in half. And since most of the people are going to be fighting, they're going to be pro-do it, are going to live in those cities. The people living outside, not so much. They're probably already starving. So it's a dangerous game for them now, especially if the U.S. knows we're not going to get attacked back, or we have a means to knock their missiles down. It makes us way more dangerous. And it kind of worries me a little bit, because we've had leaders in the past that would have took advantage of that. And I'm not sure Trump's not one of them. Take out North Korea.
If he gets back in, is he gonna launch an attack on Russia?
Well,
I don't think so.
Yeah, Trump's going to try to do a peace deal is what Trump's going to do. He's just going to say, look, Putin, if you don't do this, we're just going to start dropping tons of shit into the Ukraine that you can't beat. We might even give them some F-35s, man, which we won't do, but we might give them some F-16s, though. We're not giving them no F-22s or nothing. We're not giving them nothing really deadly.
He could say the wrong thing and get us involved in a war we're not ready for.
Well, right now, Russia is not even a threat to us. Russia and China together is a threat to us, but then that means NATO comes in, and probably so they're not really a threat to us either. So, because China went and surrounded Taiwan yesterday, they went out there with 10 big ships and 68 planes. The Taiwanians are crazy, by the way. They said, "Come on, we're ready for you." Them bitches are gonna start blowing. The Taiwanians, they're like, "Come on, China, you want to invade? Come on, it's not gonna be what you think it's gonna be. There's gonna be some blood spill." And now, granted, China got 1.4 billion people. I think Taiwan's got like 48 million or something, or 38 million. So it's not really fair, but of course they have an ally called the United States. So.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Ever since the U.S. said that we would defend Taiwan, China can't attack them without starting a war. And so is China ready to go to war with the United States? Well, with Joe Biden as president,
maybe.
Okay, Joe. Jay, this is what bothers me. They know how Biden is just old, young, dumb, and stupid. Why could they not have made the move a year ago or 2 years ago?
Well, they could have, and
but their economy was so weak, and it still is. They're still trying to get back after what Trump did to them. Like Joe said several shows ago, it crippled their economy. So, what Biden has done in his last 2 or 3 years is to reverse what Trump did against China. So their economy is starting to get a little bit of momentum, more so than ours.
Yeah, but that's all going to change soon.
So Biden was like, okay, we'll boost China's, and then we'll, decrease the United States, right?
That's what Biden would want.
He has monetary interests over there.
Yeah, and we don't even know if it's Biden anymore, because he seems to be out. I mean, not yesterday, but a couple of days ago, he said, well, I'm just going to do what I was told to do, and then I'm going to go take a nap. So he admitted that he's got a handler. I mean, he admitted it outright. And then when he was in Vietnam, he couldn't remember what he was in Vietnam for. And then after he met with the Vietnamese president, which was a big thing, us meeting with Vietnam after the war, and he come out and they asked him what it was about. He said, I can't remember, but I need a nap. I was like, dude, And technically, and I know our friends are listening tonight don't like me saying this, but he is the guy that rules the world. He's the United States rules the world right now,
But he
and
needs a nap.
but he needs to take a nap.
I mean, I don't. Has any other president said that before? I think he's the only one.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but not that I know of. What's that, Janice? Putin's in deep shit. I don't know how he's going to get out of where he's at. I did hear, excuse me, day before yesterday that he said talked about maybe a peace, maybe some kind of peace deal. What's his name? Keeps saying no peace deal. Yeah, Putin said that. But because he knows what's his face, Levinsky, whatever his name is, he don't. He ain't gonna have it. So no, Zelensky. Yeah.
Volodymyr Zelensky.
He's Hey Larry, how you doing?
He wants his whole country back. He wants the Crimea, everything that they took in the last war.
What he wants. That's what he said. He wants everything that's been taken back. Will Putin do it? I don't know if Putin can do that because he can't save face. So he's out next election. And it looks like the Russian people are going to want somebody more like an American.
Affable.
He was more like Putin was ex-KGB, so he was communist basically.
Yeah,
they don't want they want somebody with
more of a dictator.
They would like to get back into the European market. Well, if they could get back in the European market and start selling gas again, they could make a lot of money and be wealthy again, and wouldn't have to rely on China for defense.
They could be solid again.
And we were helping them with that in the beginning, but then they just started getting stupid. And then I liked what Trump said that day when he said, "Well, Angela Merkel, what are you doing? You're buying oil from your enemy. What the hell are you doing?" Well, we need it. Well, no, get it from the Middle East. Don't get it from Russia. What are you doing? And then everybody's buying all kind of stuff from China. And then COVID came, and COVID and Trump did more harm than China. It'll be decades before they recover from this. Even though they're getting ready to launch a new big carrier out into the ocean. Not as big as Gerald Ford, but still big. China wants to be the new power. China was at one time. China's weird because technically China's probably been a power many times in its history, but China was never an invading place. So I think the only place I can remember they invaded was Tibet. Other than that, they stayed behind their own walls. I don't know if they invaded Mongolia or not because Mongolia is still a country of its own, so maybe not. But what I mean is they fought amongst themselves.
Well, way back in history, sure, but recently I don't think.
No, as far as I can tell, they just didn't invade anybody. They stayed in their walls. They never messed with people in Russia. They never went below. They just stayed there, and which they had a decent sized country. And back then, it was probably a huge country compared to what it is today. I mean, as far as people wise, so they weren't the aggressors. Still today, they're half-ass aggressors, like with the South China Sea and Taiwan and stuff like that. But the Americans are like, look. Do you really want to go with this? Your Navy may be bigger than ours in the next year or two, but ours is still going to be far more advanced. And I don't know why. I read about them taking the rail guns off of the Zimwald, and they're going back with high energy weapons is what they're replacing them with.
Oh wow!
So the point is, the reason why is they say that each load for the rail gun is something. An ungodly amount of money. It's like $2 million a bullet. So they
150 million or something like that, or $1.5 million.
It was really
like that.
Yeah, it was a lot, and so they said, but it works. So we have that technology now. We're just going to put it on a thing, but we know it works. If we need it, it's there. And we watch them perform. They cut through a ship like it's butter. They just cut the ship in half. I mean, they can just go along.
It's one shot, and they're done.
And they can shoot quite a good distance. So I mean, they can do inland damage. They can do damage all over. They can even do damage to submarines, which is interesting. And Russia, speaking of that,
it cuts right.
Russia just had one of its submarines just have a big problem. I think it got attacked.
Yeah,
it's Russia's just. They're just. I don't know how they're going to get out of this. I think Putin will have to step down to save face for his country,
or die in office.
Or die. He could die in office. Medvedev used to be pretty decent. He's got to go too. And then the people just need to put somebody in there that cares and is going to do it. I mean, they can't get McDonald's right now. There's no Coke products, no cheese, no Pepsi, no American
Coke
products
pulled
at
out,
all in
McDonald's pulled
Russia.
out.
Yeah, everybody pulled that in now, and a bunch of people cut them off, like Switzerland, all them cut them off. They're not letting them import chocolate or cheese or any of that stuff. That's why one of his daughters went to live up there with her boyfriend because she said, "I got to have my chocolate." That's a quote, by the way.
Really?
Yeah,
Really? Oh,
yeah.
wow. Huh.
And the scientist one, she hates him. She hates her dad, and but she and best
He's
I
the
could tell,
smart one,
he's
man.
always encouraged. Yeah, but he's always encouraged. They went. I caught something off of Pravda a while back, and they always were hating on him. I mean, he was always trying to help her out, but she just, I mean, he's Vladimir Putin. You know, he's evil. God, no telling how many people he's killed. I mean, you just know it. Yeah, maybe not, but he is. Yeah, well, if Marjorie Taylor Greene was telling the truth in the interview I caught with her today, they're going to start impeachment proceedings or an investigation this semester when it opens. I think this coming week, actually. Yeah, they're going to start. Then after that, it's anybody's guess where it's going to go. The Republicans will get the vote. They're just the Democrats are not going to vote, even if even if the evidence is so godly that he's guilty by any reasonable doubt. The party is so corrupt. The Democrat Party is so corrupt. The Senate still won't vote against him, which will cost him the Senate in the next election. Yeah, so it's a dangerous game. Well, the Republicans found out that the hard way. They lost seats because of it when people thought they should have been voting against Trump on whatever it was. Now it's the other way around. The Democrats have to be very careful here. I mean, what happens if Kamala Harris gets in? If Kamala gets in, I'm moving to Mexico. I'd say Canada, but Trudeau's so screwed up. I don't want to go up there. The Mexican president, he is a liberal, believe it or not. Yes, he is. A stout, hardcore liberal. But because he's in Mexico and the cartels run everything, he can only be X amount of liberal without getting killed. I'm serious. That's just
Right, yeah.
Worse. Yeah.
He says the wrong thing. He's a goner.
What do you mean? I think Joe Biden knew in the beginning that he shouldn't be running for president. I think that because of the impeachments and a few other things, they thought he was the only one that could beat Trump. What do you mean? Did they cheat? This is hard for me. Okay, so Trump got the biggest vote of any president, of any Republican president ever. He got the highest black vote and the highest Hispanic vote of any Republican candidate ever. And actually, the black and Hispanic vote was low for Joe Biden, down about 50%. But somehow or another, he managed to muster another 6 or 8 million votes, which no one really know where they came from.
All those dead people voting.
It's I'm not saying they cheated because I really don't know if they did, if they didn't. I'm just thinking that is how many people voted. 170. Oh, that's what the problem was. 172 million people voted, but only 166 were actually registered. There was more votes than registered voters, yes. But for some reason, nobody wanted to invest. No, that's a fact. Nobody wanted an investigation.
And even if there was fraud in the election, it's too late now to reverse it. It can't be reversed. It couldn't be reversed. What, a month after? Once the Senate approves the vote count, there's no reversal.
But Marilyn, I wasn't mad at the Democrats. I was mad at Trump. I mean, he went around for a full year saying they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat, they're going to cheat. He should have put some rules in where they couldn't cheat it. Maybe did a couple of executive orders where X amount of people had to be there to see. I mean, one of the ones we know about was in Pennsylvania.
Make it by law. Every voting place takes your ID to prove it's you voting for that Social Security number.
Well, they need in mail-in ballots. You should have to take a picture of your ID. And don't start with your IDs. I will eat y'all alive on the ID thing. Just don't even go there. You can't win the argument with the.
Look at it. There's three things that you can do as an adult, and when you hit a certain age. So there's driving a car requires an identification. You have when you're 18, you have to register for the draft. But then also at 18, you can vote. and you can enter into a contract legally. But and you can buy alcohol at the age of 21. You can buy cigarettes at the age of 21 now, and all of those require driving a car requires having a license or a photo ID. Buying cigarettes requires a photo ID. Buying booze requires a photo ID.
But that's
now in Maryland,
all
they have
young
recreational
people.
marijuana.
These
It
old
requires
people
a photo
can't
ID,
get
but why
out
not-
their
why not use
house.
a photo ID to vote?
Yes,
don't
but
get
just
that.
all the young people. All these old people can't get out their house. They're stuck in their house and they can't get an ID. Okay, first off, if that was true, then I noticed you can manage to bust their asses down there to click the button. Why can't you bust them down to get an ID? More importantly, you're lying because you can't have Medicaid or Medicare without an ID. You can't get a prescription without an ID. You can't see a doctor without
That's
an
not true. You can
ID.
get certain prescriptions, but there's certain ones you need an ID to pick up, like the narcotics, NSAIDs, and things like that, like Percocets and Percodins. You need to show your ID
down
to prove
here,
that
if
who you
you're
are.
on Medicaid or Medicare, you have to show an ID to pick up your prescription, unless it's a place where they know you on a regular basis. That's a weird law, but it's if it's somewhere you do regular business, you don't, except for high end drugs. But no, guys, I mean, you can't do anything without an ID. There's nothing you can do. As a matter of fact, if you get stopped on a road, you don't have one, you're vagrant, you can go to jail. You have it's a law. Every state in the union requires you to have an ID.
And in most states, if you don't have an ID when you're near the event of a crime, even if you had nothing to do with the crime, and you don't
let's
have
be
your ID,
honest.
you are considered vagrant and part of the crime.
Yeah, but let's be honest, people. If you're anti-ID to vote, then you're a cheater.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason you wouldn't want an ID is because people cheat. Like I said, Democrats are always talking about how they bust people down. Well, they can bust them out to get IDs. I'm sure they could even get a grant to get the money to go out and do it.
Remember and refresh the audience on the Biden Trump election. There was some woman, I don't remember what state, but she was caught having voted 5 different times under 5 different aliases with 5 different fake IDs.
She voted in Pennsylvania. She voted in Philadelphia. She voted in Maryland. She voted in New York. She voted in New Jersey, and she voted in D.C. And she voted more than one time in each one of those areas. I think altogether it was 24 or 28 votes of one woman. And she was a liberal, by the way. Nobody caught her. All that would have been required was an ID. See, down here, you can't do that. In the South, in the heartland of the country, we require IDs, and they're put into a computer. So you try to vote somewhere else, it lets you know. It's like the state police tracking system. I remember when I was a kid, you could get away anything you wanted state to state to state because they had no system that connected all the state police. Of course, now they do. So anything can be put into the system and instantly pop up. Yeah. So instantly, anything can be put in the system. You can find that right off the bat. Okay, you've got a link system on who voted. Oh, they voted. Oh, they already voted. And if you do it that way, when everything's tallied and you put it into a computer system, the computer will recognize if this name has been in there more than one time. So, I mean, people, I don't understand why we want to cheat. Personally, I think you should have to give a freaking thumb scan to vote. Yeah, I'm on it.
I don't understand why people have a problem with trying to prove who they are when they vote for something as important as the president.
Yes,
you know?
I mean, I don't. Yeah, why would you want?
When I voted here in Pennsylvania for the first time, I was like, "Thank you for taking my ID." I actually thanked the proctor for taking my identification.
One of my liberal friends he said, well, that's all the illegals can help us out. I said, yeah, that works sometimes. I said, but I hate to tell you, those illegals are Christians and Catholics, and eventually they're going to vote conservative. I said, you keep letting them in here more and more, and eventually we'll go conservative. Once they get settled into their homes and get back into their churches, they're going to go conservative, and you're going to be out in the cold. I said, why in the hell do you not know this? He's like, well, no. I said, go look. I said, pretty much all of South America, Central and South America, are Christians.
Yes. It's
I said,
very big. Very big. Yeah.
What do you mean? Who wrote that? No, people. Mexico is not Central or South America. Well, technically, the bottom of Mexico is in Central America, but it's not in Central America. It's in North America. It's part of the North America Treaty between Canada, the United States, and Mexico. Yes, it's in North America. More people have lost money to me over that than
it's part of Central America.
Yeah, I've won so much money over that. That and that the toilet goes the other way on the other side of the equator. People never believe me when I tell
Coriolis
them.
effect.
The guy was telling this guy one day, I said, no, when you flush the toilet, it's going to spin the other way. He's like, no way, Joey. I said, dude,
Yeah,
trust me on
well,
this. It's going to spin
it's
the other
true.
way. He said, how do you know? I
Once
said,
you
well, I've
cross the
personally
equator.
seen it. Yeah, I've
Yeah, I've
seen
been
it.
there. I've done that
Yes, because you know,
4 times.
the guy's like, no way. So he looked it up. He's like, oh, shit, I owe you money. And I said, I told you, man. He said, well, that doesn't make any sense. I said, it makes perfect sense if you know how a planet rotates. The bottom goes this way, the top goes that way. I said, we're spinning like this. And
Yep.
I said, that's what keeps the weather
Mhm.
patterns from pushing across each other at the equator. She's like, I didn't know that. I was like, well, you do now. I said, it's useless information.
Yeah, and wristwatches also they revolve around the opposite direction
Yeah,
down there.
it's just
They don't.
it's the way the world is. You know, Jay's messing with you.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Now, if you smoke marijuana down there, you get your head goes around the backwards way.
Yeah, your head spins the other direction. Right?
To whoever wrote to me that was the day before yesterday about the marijuana, yes, I seen the study that it was a big government out of Congress wrote this up and said that I'm not kidding you, this is how it opened up. People who smoke marijuana don't kill people. That is exactly how it opened up. And this should not be a Schedule 1 drug. This should be a Schedule 3 drug that can be bought over the counter. It's an exact quote, by the way. Well, because, all right,
And in Maryland,
regular
it can now be
marijuana, and I'm going to help you out with this, people. Regular marijuana is just what it is. Smoking flower generally is not going to be higher than, 30 THC. Mostly it's going to be in the 20 somewhere. Most people handle that no problem. Some people get a little paranoid. The problem is, and I said this in the beginning, and Colorado proved me out, so did California. When you started doing the concentrates and the vapes, they're much more potent. So a concentrate can be 70% THC. When you start smoking it out of your mind, you might as well be tripping on acid. Plus, it can make you really, really sleepy. So what's happened in Colorado is people have been smoking and fall asleep while they're driving. And boom, they kill somebody. So until concentrates came along, there had never been a death attributed to marijuana. Now there has been. So the concentrates and the vapes. Now, if they're going to do this, they just need to put a law and make them less potent. But I told everybody when the edibles came along, because I had predicted this. I said what's going to happen is some kid's going to see a bag of gummies. He's going to eat the whole bag of gummies, and then he's going to have to go to the hospital because he's tripping his ass
get a
off.
stomach pump, yeah.
Yeah, so this, by the way, has happened more than once. Eating chocolates happened more than once. One, all I can tell you is be responsible, people. If you got children and you're eating edibles, I mean, come on, don't let your kids get into them. But I mean, really and truly, what do we need?
Alcohol and booze and things like this.
Marijuana has always been about marijuana has always been about smoking a flower. If that's not good enough for you, go get a different kind of drug. I'm just saying because you're gonna fuck it up for everybody else. Well, no, I can't these days because I got every now and then I can, but maybe on the weekends. But my life is too busy. My brain is just like whatever, daddy-o. No, it's just not as fast as it used to be. You mean women? No, that's on Sean. Sean's got like a little harem. I think Jay and Sean rotate their harem around. They got like 9 women, and they just rotate them around.
That's it.
It's like
That's
one
all
keeps
we do.
4, one keeps 5, and then they rotate them around the other way. Oh
Yeah,
no,
I'm
2 of them are
so
belly
young.
dances. 2 of them are Turkish belly dances, man. I was like, wow, I want to come see that myself. No, goofballs.
No.
They're both married with 5 kids each. Oh, maybe 6 kids. I forget.
You're not far off. I got a dog and 4 cats. That's pretty close.
It's I don't have any kids. What are you talking about?
My God, there's so many sirens going on up around.
Poor, they're coming for Sean.
Dude, that happened a month ago.
They coming for you, buddy.
That happened a month ago. You all don't believe me. It happened.
Don't be aggravating a police officer.
Did I tell you about that, Jay?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I did a show about a month ago, and I did some ranting on Mr. Biden, right? And all the bullshit that was going on in the United States. 2:30 in the morning, my brother gets out of bed, jumps out of bed, runs down the steps, runs outside. Okay. 2 cops across the street from my house, 2 in the back alley from my house. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah, I
just
remember
like,
now you told us that. Yeah,
yeah,
that's amazing.
amazing my ass.
Yeah, well, they, people don't think that the people aren't listening to these kinds of conversations. I was actually talking about UFOs in a bar in Savannah back in the '90s, and not on the telephone, not on the internet. No, it's just me and a couple of these dudes at the bar. And then the bar closed. I went home, and then when I get home to a phone ring and I pick it up, I thought, well, maybe it's one of my friends. They're like, "Hey, you left something at the bar. Why don't you come over here? We'll go do something else." Pick it up. Some guy out of Chicago starts threatening my life in vague, cryptic ways for me to stop talking about my dad's top secret work and UFOs. I'm like, how the hell do you know what I was talking about? You're in Chicago. He's like, we know. And
Well,
I actually had the
radio goes
state
around the
had
world.
had this county policeman had to come to my house to fill out a report because this guy was threatening my life. So I wanted some, I wanted some backup. While I was talking to the cop, the guy calls again, and he's like, "Let me talk to the officer." I'm like, I gave the phone to the policeman. He starts threatening the policeman's life. He's like, "Yeah, come on down here, man. I'll give you the address. Come on down here. We'll be waiting for it. We got guns. Come on down." Nothing ever happened of it. But how does someone? It was caller ID on my phone said Chicago, and it didn't no business name, no personal name, just a Chicago exchange. How does he know what I was talking about in a bar? I don't know how many hours away from Chicago. 24-hour drive, 72-hour drive, something like that.
Do you have
Scared
any
the piss out of me.
clue on that, Jug? Do you have any clue on that?
I've been threatened so many times. No, man, look, I've had them tell me stuff.
NSA is one thing I-
We've had them call into the shows and actually tell me where my friends were, where my mom was, where my wife was, where my kids were, where everybody was. It was, and then I've had them threaten me. One of the more famous ones that I tell, one of the more famous stories is we're putting on a new roof on a 20-plex. And I wasn't dressed for work. I was dressed because I was out doing business. And I was in my truck. So I got up there. I was on the roof bitching at everybody because they were going too slow. And this white SUV with tinted windows pulls up. And one of the guys said, "Who the hell's that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So I said, "Keep an eye on it there." So we went back and he taps me and he said, "They're getting out the truck, two guys." And I looked down and I'm looking at those suits. Those are nice suits. Those are Lisa Armani. They're well cut. You could tell by the fabric, even from where I was standing, these were high dollar suits. I'm like, okay. And I noticed right off the bat under their coats, they were carrying. You could see it from the side. I was like, he said, "How do you see that?" I said, "Trust me, they're toting." And they pointed up at the roof. Yeah, they pointed up at the roof. Well, if you do your jacket right, you won't see it. But obviously, they just got out the truck. So he pointed up at the roof like that, and he goes, so I'm pointing at guys, and he's shaking his head. No, shaking his head. And then I think his name was Jerome. Next to me, points at me, and he goes, I'm like, "Oh shit!" So, and I'm toting, by the way. I got a 9mm on me, and I'm going down the thing. I get down there, and he said, "Why don't you take the gun out now?" So I turned around, put my hand, let him grab it, and he put it on the hood of the truck. And I don't think I've ever told you about that before. Anyway, he's telling me, he goes, so I just want to tell you, your wife is at the doctor's and she's waiting on her. She had her appointment and everything was good. Not only did he know where she was, but he knew the results of the test.
Wow.
He told me what class my son was and what my son was doing in the class at that moment. He was telling me where my stepkids were. He told me a lot of stuff. And a lot of people told me where my mom was. Then he goes, Joe, we really like what you do, and we appreciate that you make so much of this public and help get this out there. He said, but you've been warned about the agenda before. And he said, you do a lot of driving. It wouldn't be a big deal for a rig to just push you off the road somewhere and kill your ass, and your family for that matter. And I looked up at him. I said, I don't really take the threats well, dude. He said, we know that. And he said, this isn't really a threat. He said, again, the people we work for are quite happy with the amount of information that you're putting out. And we're quite happy that you allow for us to break into the lines and ask direct questions, which they did on several occasions. And I was like, well, what is this about? He said, you talked about particular things about the agenda the other night. He said, just like you did with Alfred Weber 2 years ago, he said, and we don't want you talking about that. And I was actually talking about the Holocaust dream. That's what I was talking about. And I said, well, if it's being put out for me to see, then the object is to put it out. And I said, I'm probably answering to someone bigger than you are. And he says, well, that may be true, but will they step in and save your life? I guess is the real question. And I was like, well, you know. So he goes back to, we know where you go. He said, we know these spots you like to go out to. He said, I'm just telling you, man, things could happen. You could disappear out in the swamp. Nobody ever find your ass again. And he's right. I went places, sometimes 3, 4 o'clock in the morning that there is nobody out there but us. And it wouldn't be that hard if you had the equipment to disappear some people. So I said, look, I'll try to stay away from this as much as I can. I said, but I got a show on Coast to Coast coming up with Melinda Leslie and another person on this particular subject. So he gives me, or he tells me, I guess is a better word, what boundaries he wanted me to stay inside of. I said, that's fine, but I can't keep Melinda there. Melinda and I talk about the same things. He said, let us deal with Melinda. I was like, okay. So, George is going to be answering these questions because we already sent a list of questions to Coast and to Lisa and to George. And he said, don't worry about them questions. They've already been replaced.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I said, well, what was I going to tell him? F you. I mean, motherfucker would have probably shot me right there. And we just went on from there. And then a couple months after that, I was talking, obviously, about something they didn't want me to talk about. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning. Linda and I are going to the casino. We weren't looking for UFOs. We weren't out tracking stuff down. We were going to the casino to have a couple of drinks and gamble. That's what we were doing. So I'm cruising along, and we're talking about an event that happened the day before. And we're talking about it. And you got to remember, at this time of the morning, we're out in the swamp. There's nobody out there but us usually. And I'm looking at this white truck. Well, this white, not SUV. Well, I guess it's an SUV. And it's a pretty big one, and they're following us. So I said, I wonder if they really are following, because they had been behind us for a little while. And it was starting to bother me. And we were talking. I said, well, let's find out if they're listening. I said, we'll just turn up here right quick and head out to the casino this way, and they'll have a hard time catching me. So I was in a sports car, so I just pulled the emergency brake, spun the car sideways. I was doing about 75 and straightened it out. So when they went to turn in, I just flipped it as a U-turn and came back around and hit the main highway and punched it. I was doing a good 130, 140. And they had no idea where the hell I went. Okay. So stupid on my part, by the way. But still, we got away from it. No problem. We get to the casino. We're parked. We're getting out the car. And I look down at who is sitting below us. I was like, he looks up at, so he was out the thing looking at me, going, smiling all big and stuff. I was like, yeah, why don't you kiss, my what?
Why didn't you just invite him to have a drink with you? And
I did, actually. Well, I told him, I said, I said, you want to come to dinner? We're getting ready to go have dinner. And we were going to the buffet. And he just looked at me and shook his head. I said, you sure? I said, so you're just going to follow us around all night? I said, because we're headed to Florida after we leave here. And he just kind of looked at me, and that's where we were going. And then we left there, and we stopped at the treasure chest where he followed us. Well, him and the other guy followed us there, where Linda walked in and won like $1,600, $1,800. So we took off and went to Florida and spent the night down in Florida and hung out at the beach and shit. Did a little UFO hunting. They followed us the whole time, the whole entire way. And still today, if it's weird, you won't see anything around except if we decide to head out to certain destinations. Usually within a half an hour to 45 minutes of us leaving, we pick up a tail. And it's mainly because they're not sure where we're going, because we've had several big events happen over the years. And if you would happen to be lucky to be there when it happens to us, you might actually get to see it. But if you're not, you're not. So they keep a good hardcore. It's also how they keep an eye on all their labs and stuff like that, is by knowing the people who speak about this publicly, it makes it easier to keep track of. Mm-hmm. With me, you just never know, because I've been known to be sitting watching TV at 2 o'clock in the morning, reach over and say, come on, let's go for a ride. and boom, next thing you know, we're in damn Florida or Georgia or somewhere like that looking for stuff. And so but I've been threatened. And then Frenchie came in from France, spent 10 days with me getting hypnotized. We got threatened. So I love this. We go to this place out of Honey Island Swamp to go sometimes just to go look at the stars. So I was showing her this place where there's been interaction with the Greys. So out of nowhere, this Hancock County cop pulls up. I'm not kidding you. Hand in the air. I've been going there for 30 years, never seen a cop, not one time. Not once. So he pulls up and he goes, "What are y'all doing out here?" I said, "We're just star watching." I said, "There's a little mini meteor show going on tonight." And I have a friend of mine's from France, and I was showing her how our skies look from this side of the world. And he's like, "Oh." He said, "Well, I wanted to let you know that the Navy is out doing live fire testing." I'm like, "Wait a minute. The Navy's out doing live fire testing on civilian territory?" And he said, "Oh, yeah." He said they launched the boats from over here at the NASA base and went up the river and were doing live firing. And I'm looking at this guy because I know he's lying. There ain't no effing way the Navy's out at 4 o'clock in the morning doing live firing anywhere that a civilian could be. It's just not going to happen. And I don't care what agency.
It's illegal for one.
Unless they were trying to kill somebody, it wasn't going to happen. So, and he's growing more impatient. I said, "Well, we'll get out of here then to be on the safe side." So we leave. We're cruising on. So I said, "We'll go. It's early in the morning, so let's go stop at a casino. We'll get some breakfast and take a break for a few minutes." So we're driving along, and we're going the back way to the casino, and there's a big oil. It's not a refinery. It's like a switching station, and we're going past this. And this freaking light just brightens the whole area. I mean, I couldn't even tell you what happened. It was just like, it was unbelievably light. I'm lucky I didn't put the car in a ditch. As far as I know, I could have and didn't even know it. And then next thing I know, we're sitting at the table having breakfast. Nobody remembers anything. Nothing. It's not even the first time that's happened to us out there like that. I mean, because I was asking her, and we were doing a hypnosis session the next day, and we brought it into the session. I'm telling you, man, when they want to know stuff, they have no qualms on taking people against their will. It ain't even against their will. Half the time it's with their will. Yeah. I know we had 6 of us out there one night. We went out there and we kept hearing what sounded like a horse screaming, and there was this weird blue light. And then 3 of us are sitting in Waffle House, don't even know where the other 3 were. And what bothered me is none of us even asked what the other 3 were.
Complete loss of time and memory.
It was crazy.
Hey,
what's
guys,
that, Jay?
I got to get going here, brother.
All right. Get out of here because we're almost out of here right now. You go get some rest, baby.
All right, talk to you later. Oh, yeah, my name is Sean Kelly, and
Tuesday night,
8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Into the Night.
Into the Night with Sean. It's Into the Night with Sean Kelly. Anyway, go get some rest, baby. We'll talk at you soon.
Yep. Good night,
Sean. I keep seeing our messenger. Oh, there it went. Who? Oh, you're talking about the president of Turkey, Egon, whatever the hell his name is.
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
He's Oh, you worried he's going to sign up with Russia or China? He might. I mean, he's got a lot of our weapons, so he's not going to be able to get any parts once they break.
He's got a lot of our weapons.
They're NATO, and I don't think he trusts.
We have several missile bases there too that he can take control of as well. So
I don't think he really trusts Russia or China. No, he probably don't trust us either, but he just trusts him less. Yeah, that's what it is. I don't know. Every time I look at an article lately, it's looking like Biden's in more trouble. I mean, it's just every time I see one or it comes up on my screen or something comes by or somebody sends me something, it just seems like he's in more trouble. I'm not even sure what to think about him anymore. Well, here's another one. Hunter Biden's attorney pressed David Wise on IRS whistleblower right after special counsel. See, yeah, they're trying to get after this whistleblower, but they can't. And well, that's what happens when you act like an ass, and people want revenge.
What's that whistleblower's name? Is it Doug something or other?
I don't remember. No, and I know one of them. They're not telling you who he is. They're just not telling you. Oh, SpaceX fired up Starship Super Heavy booster. All right, go Starship. Green comet that will be once in a lifetime viewing experience. Oh, look at this.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes, big green comet. Yeah, well, Oh, I hope it ain't. Now a lot of these movies start out with this blue or green comet coming by, and then the world goes to shit in a handbag or something. What was the one when it was a comet and then it turned out to be a vampire spaceship?
That's got Patrick Stewart in it. It is called 1980s.
Yeah. The girl was naked the whole movie.
Damn it, Joe! Now you got my brain working.
All I remember is the girl was naked the whole movie. That's all I remember.
Yeah, she was a Czechoslovakian model, and I think she was only like 21 when she did that movie.
Why is it? I don't know, people. When is it going to be? August 12th, 2023. I think that's already passed. I think somebody might have made a boo-boo here. Yeah, August 12th was just a few weeks ago, guys. We're September now.
Yeah, it's September. Winter will be upon us.
People, they're never going to tell us about a comet that's going to collide with us, okay? Oh, no, it's just going to miss us.
Not unless we can stop it, yeah.
Yeah. The comet could disintegrate on September 17th, 2023. So you might be able to catch it. It must going to be getting really close to the sun or something. I've seen a couple of comets over the years. Mm-hmm. Couple of shooting stars. Well, I mean, there's quite a few.
Life Force is that movie.
Yep, that's it. Life Force.
1985. And allegedly that's based off of a partial top secret Apollo moon mission, Apollo 20, where they allegedly found a mile-long spaceship that they explored and found a woman. Well, two aliens. One had his head severed. The other was a female that was intact. They allegedly brought back to Earth, and she's allegedly still alive. Don't know.
What's that, Carolyn? I haven't been to New York in a long time.
The dirty city. We were talking about it last show, how dirty it was.
Yeah, it's a long time, like 3 days ago, man. You know what? I would be embarrassed to say I went to DC. I'm serious. I would be embarrassed to say I went to DC. SpaceX gets big hint from FAA on next Starship launch opportunity. He's on this, people. This is the one he's sending to Mars. Oh, yeah. He's not playing around anymore.
He's ready to go. He just got to get some kinks out of the system, I think.
SpaceX Falcon 9 launched 22 Starlink satellites for Florida. He's just launching these things all over the place. UFO video investigators explains the footage released by the Pentagon. Doesn't look like any UFO I've seen. Looks like one of them rings left behind or something hauling ass. Ask him if he walked on the moon. Joe Biden trolled after. Because this guy comes with more. Every time he is asked, "Oh, I did that. I drove a truck. Oh, I drove a bus. Oh yeah. I was a prostitute at one time." Ask him if he walked on the moon. Joe Biden trolled after claiming he taught political theory at UPenn for 4 years. That's just an outright lie. I mean, come on, guys. The guy just can't tell the truth about anything.
Or he's just that confused. He doesn't know what's truthful anymore, which is just as bad.
That's quite possible too. No more free returns. Amazon releases new fees. Oh, Amazon, you better watch out. You get your ass in trouble.
They're making a lot of money off of Prime. I mean, was it $99 a year? Oh no, it's $129 and
Yeah, it went up.
$129 a year now.
Yep.
So I mean,
Astronauts
how many of us
explain why
pay
no
that?
humans has visited moon in 50 years. We don't want to hear what your explanation is. Oh, Denmark receives first F-35 fighters jets to replace F-16. See, Biden's in trouble. I mean, not Biden. Putin's in trouble. We're just surrounding him with F-35s and F-22s and A1 Averys and stuff. I mean, he can't defend against that. His military is nowhere around there.
No, he's got no defense against the F-35s and 22s. We can shoot a missile at his forces, and before they would even detect our planes on radar, those missiles are already on the way.
Yeah.
So,
What's this? Ukrainian drone pilots fear China may lock them out of homemade devices. Well, why is that? Y'all better figure that out.
People do that. They're getting their. I thought they were getting their drones from Syria.
They're building these. These must be just mixed parts. They might be getting their receivers from China because they're cheap.
Getting some secondhand parts from China.
Rep. Jim Jordan subpoenas FBI agent who censored internet as was what likely Scooter's case looms. Let's see. Putin wants to negotiate. Ukrainian refuses.
Good.
2 aircraft carriers are being decommissioned by the U.S. Navy.
Which 2?
I know the Nimitz is one of them.
Oh gosh.
The Nimitz wasn't going to be, and then it was going to be, and then it wasn't going to be, and then it's going to be again.
So they're going to completely decommission it, or they're going to turn it into a museum piece?
No, they're going to. Somebody said they were selling them. Let's see. The U.S. Navy is working on decommissioning 2 of its nuclear aircraft carriers. Also, it plans to sell off 2 independent class littoral combat ships to foreign military. The USS Nimitz leaves active duty in 2026 due to the Navy's proposal for additional 5.5 months of maintenance. Yeah. And what is it? Afterwards, the U.S. Dwight Eisenhower, D. Eisenhower, will retire the following year. 2 aircraft carriers later. They're both 50 years old. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Jackie, I was on the Nimitz on CVN 68. She was called Old Salty. The reactor was called Old Salty. The Nimitz was an interesting ship. That's all I can tell you. It's a sad state to see it. Well, we don't know. See, that's the thing about doing it the way we do it. They're both still active for another 2 years or 3 years. So if China goes haywire, we still have them as active carriers. Yeah. Well, you know, the Democrats have been saying forever we need to downsize our Navy. The Navy doesn't agree with them. The Republicans don't agree with them, but they had Congress last time around, so that's what they're doing.
Yeah, but the Army and Air Force agree with them because any funds not going to the Navy go to them.
Russian landing ship destroyed, and it will take years to repair submarine. Wow. The Ukrainians just screwing y'all up, Russia. You need to do something about this. Photo crews dismantling I-65 Saturn 1B rocket. We're not using them raggedy things anymore. Shoppers are abandoning Lowe's. New data reveals. Uh-oh. We might have to put Jay a different place. What's going on here? When shoppers abandoning Lowe's, new data reveals. Here's why. Okay. Yeah, because you make us do our own stuff. That's why. Lowe's sales has declined in the last quarter. That don't mean crap. Well, I would tell you what the article says, but it keeps disappearing every time I go to try to read it. So let's see, where'd it go? Yeah, that done disappeared.
Maybe it's one of the faux news things from the Chive or the Onion.
Oh no, there it is. Okay, it's just got us. Oh, let's see what it's doing. What's going on? No, they're saying they're too expensive and we think and too complicated to shut. You know what, Lowe's? I've been bitching about this for 10 years now. Stop changing your floor plans. Grocery stores don't do that. That's why everybody knows when they go in your grocery store where everything is at. You
Not as often.
dumbasses.
Every 5-6 years, almost every store does something to their floor plan.
No, grocery stores don't. They always have the same. That's why. And they do it as chains, and each store is the same. See, Lowe's, even if they left it alone, each store is different. But that's not how
Yeah,
it is. Like Rouse's and all, when
same
you
with Home
walk in.
Depot. It depends
Yeah,
on
Home Depot
depends
does
on
it
the
too.
building that they're going into. They're all laid out the same, and others are reversed. It is what it is. But based
both
on
those companies need to stop listening to dumbass salespeople say, "Oh, if you move this, you move that, you'll get better sales." No, you won't. You're going to piss off your regular customers.
Yeah, that is for sure.
And it's not just the two we're talking about. This is going on in other stores too.
Yeah, it's across the board.
It's just for some reason grocery stores, especially down here, have always kept like Rouse's. I don't matter what store you go into, out of their 100, they're going to be set up the same way.
Yeah, that is true for the most part of most grocery stores. That's Kroger, Piggly Wiggly, Safeway.
Well, because that's the way it should be. Because that way you know where everything is. You don't have to waste your time looking around. Home Depots and Lowe's are trying to get sales where they're not going to get sales. And,
and think about this. Down south, we don't go grocery shopping. We go Krogering. How many other grocery stores do you know that they use the store's name to go grocery shopping? And it doesn't matter if they're going to the Kroger or the Piggly Wiggly. If you're going out to go groceries, it's called Krogering. And no one says we're going Safewaying, we're going Gianting, we're going Giant Eagling, we're going.
We're going somewhere, people. Damn, they just took out a really nice Russian ship. Russia, stop running your ships through the Black Sea. Go park them suckers somewhere.
And do they really need naval support for this little skirmish? I mean,
apparently they do. Apparently they do, and they keep losing ships over it. James Webb Telescope has discovered possible signs of alien life.
Well, no kidding.
So I read this the other day. If this is what I think it is, so it has the ability to scan through atmospheres and stuff. Well, it found this water planet, and it found, what did they call them? DMSs. Which usually are only found on planets with life. It's 120 light years away from us.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so it's an interesting read, people. It really is. Well, James Webb is great. The name is K2-X18b. That's the name of the planet. Eventually, it'll get a real name. By the way, in case y'all didn't notice, people, you can actually you can name the stars after you. You can buy stars and planets, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, it's been peer reviewed the whole 9 yards. They're pretty sure they're going to find life. And one of James Webb's its thing was to look for life.
Mm-hmm.
It really was.
Well, I mean, the Hubble was designed to do that too, but they've set it up with a warped mirror. They had to wait 8 months, a year to go up and fix it. So.
And Hubble found a lot of stuff, and I'm sure it found more things than they want to admit to. But
Probably.
Now that this is popular, they can go back and talk about this. And in case y'all didn't know, this planet is in the Goldilocks zone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good chance there's life there. Well, the problem with this is, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, 120 light years out. So even at light speed, it's 120 years. Twice light speed, it's 60 years. Triple light speed, it's 30 years.
30 years or 15.
Quadruple, it's 15. At 10 times, it's going to be less than a year to get there.
Yeah, 12 weeks.
Yeah, so we're going to eventually, we'll get to, or we'll use some type of gate or wormhole technologies. Eventually, we're going to get to these places. But the thing is, are they going to get here first, or are they already here?
Yeah, are they already here? Yeah.
Is that planet older than our planet?
That's another
Does it
thing.
have life longer?
Does James Webb, is it able to detect carbon footprint and how old the planet is?
I don't even know if they're looking for that yet, to be honest with you. They're looking for all sorts of stuff, but James Webb, the problem for the telescope is there's only one of them, and it's being shifted all over the place.
Yeah, and how many agencies are trying to vie for downtime on so they can look through
that poor telescope gets used, like most of the telescopes on this planet and the Hubble get used 24/7. There is no break for these things.
Yeah. And people are renting time to get on them and look for stuff, and they have to move it to different places. Each person who looks through it is moving it to a different location.
Rainey, that's true. They really do use the Hubble as a spotter telescope now. for things that the Jane Webb should be looking at. Well, how about once they fixed the mirrors? Well, it turned out it wasn't. It's 100, but it was real close. It was like brought back 90% of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when they launched it, and it opened up, and they're talking about how great, and then all of a sudden it was just a blur.
Just blurry nothingness.
I fell for them guys. I mean, this was an expensive project.
Yeah.
No, it was somebody polished the mirrors wrong, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was. I think it was just one mirror was polished wrong, but maybe it was more than one. But yeah,
I think it was just one. I think it was a big
set up a replacement for it, and that takes time and money.
Yeah, I mean, you had to fly a shuttle mission up there. You had to crew it up. You had to get the new mirror. You had to figure out how you're going to install it. But doing stuff in space isn't that easy. So, put this in perspective. You got a wrench in your hand. You put the wrench on the nut and you do like this. Well, remember, there's no gravity, so when you push like this, your body does this.
Your body goes the other direction. Yeah.
So you've got to anchor yourself or push yourself the opposite way, or every time you do the wrench, you're going to spin. Yeah, well, there's nothing in space to keep you still. Well, gravity boots are used, clips are used, ropes are used. Well, not ropes, but they use cables.
And they had power socket wrenches that they were using too to fix it. But essentially, what they did to fix it was that they just put a contact lens over the bad mirror to bring it back into focus.
That's basically what they did.
What they did, yeah.
No, I mean it's got great. Well, that is true. Was it Voyager? One of them picked something up that. So first they thought Voyager was losing its mind. I think it's Voyager 2 actually, and it wasn't working right. It wasn't sending signals back right. They just figured it was losing its mind. Then somehow or another, it corrected itself.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which wasn't supposed to be able to. This is within the last few months, people. This is very, very weird. Something else went on. Some pitch or something picked up. So NASA thought, still does think, that there was probably some type of extraterrestrial visitation to the probe. They think the reason it was acting the way it was is because it was probably picked up, gone over, and then set back on its course.
Yeah, on the correct course.
Yeah.
Because it had varied off of it.
And it's quite, I mean, we would do that. I mean, you got to remember when you're in deep space traveling around, we have two of them. We got one going out this way and one going out this way, and they've all left the solar system. Well, let me rephrase that. They've left the Oort cloud. The solar system is two. They might have left the solar system. Yeah, I think they have, because the solar system is 2 light years out.
To the end of our solar system. Yeah.
Yeah, just the solar system is 2 light years. Well, what we consider the solar system is the effect of our sun's gravity on the bodies in the solar system we live in. So the effect of our sun is about 2.5 light years out. What's interesting about that is Proxima Centauri is only 3.8 light years out, and its sun's probably about 2 years too. So they're damn near overlapping each other. There's only going to be a small space when we're traveling to get there. Yeah, it's 3.98 light years. No, they always say Proxima Centauri, but Proxima Centauri is like 4.2 or 4.3 light years out.
The closest solar system is 4.2 light years from our solar system.
Yeah, so Proxima, the other Proxima is 3.98 is what it is. And that's, no, it's another one of the Proximas. There's 3 Proximas altogether. It gets really weird, because I was always taught that Proxima, I forget which one it was the closest, but it was at 4 point something, and then the other one came up and it was actually just a little bit closer. It was under 4. It's like 3.8 or 3.9. Oh, I got it written down, so I might have to go find it, but I keep all of that shit. In the old days, I'd have just pulled it out of my head, like,
yeah, it is a trinary system.
Yeah, it's and then you're talking about the dog star, and so you're talking about the Dogon, actually, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's also a trinary system.
So the Dogon are interesting for a couple of reasons, whatever you want to believe about them. One, they understood the circulation system of a human. They actually put it on their cave walls, how a circulation system through the body works, how it starts, where it goes through, and how it comes back. Very interesting stuff. They also did brain surgery on people that survived.
Yeah.
Yes, they know
And
that
some
because the
several
skull.
times had their brain, what do they call it, trepanation? The skulls cut away and pressures relieved
Yeah,
several times. I mean, there's skulls that have 3 and 4 of these cuts into the brain that had healed. They put the
that
cap
have
back
here.
on and it's healed back up. Yeah.
And so that's very strange to start off with. They also knew the orbit of Proxima, which is 55, not Proxima, of Sirius, which is 55.5 light years. So that's what its orbit takes. So the Dogon's calendar is based on 50.5 light years, or 55.5 light years is what it's based on. The same orbit of Proxima. I mean, I keep saying Proxima of Sirius A.
Of Series A.
And then they started telling us about Sirius B and Sirius C, which nobody believed. No, because all of them had to be found with a radio telescope. So they found Sirius C wasn't even that long ago, probably less than 100 years. Proxima B was
30s, I think.
yeah, and then Proxima B I think was found in the late 1800s, whenever radio telescopes first came out. But the people who went to go visit them visited them before the invention of the radio telescope. So they were trying to say that the Dogon had been contaminated, and that's how they knew this. But it was more than that. They knew the density of the star. They knew that if you took a rock, like a rock-sized piece of the sun, that it would go completely through our planet. How did they know that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's Proxima A. It's a dense star, and if you could take a scoop and you brought it here on Earth, it would just shoot straight through the planet. It's to how dense it is, and they knew this. They knew the orbit. How did they know the orbit? Even if there was a radio telescope at the time, who told them that? Because they wouldn't have known what the orbit was then. They didn't find out the orbit until later on, I think 1900 or something. So you got to wonder what was going on here. Who told them all this information? And there was more than just that. I mean, we're just touching on it. There were lots of things on this that you had to stop and wonder about. The fact that they knew about A and C, B and C. So when they tried to say they were contaminated, that was when there was only A. But they said that there were B and C, and they knew the orbits of both of those. And because they did, they told some scientists, and he found both of them. Well, he found one, and then he found the other one later on. But I mean, guys, it's what do you do? I mean, how does a tribe in Africa who's supposed to be related to the Egyptians, living in some mountains somewhere, knew all this? They talked about an alien race named Nemos that came and visited them, that they used to park in the water, and then these reptilian figures would come walking out the water and teach them stuff.
Very similar to the Dogu figures from ancient prehistoric Japan that were described as the same way as reptilian-like, amphibian-like creatures that came out of the sea in not spacesuits, but kind of a reverse scuba suit where they had water inside so they could breathe, and taught them how to do the basic things: farming, animal husbandry, hybriding plants to make them more edible and stuff like that. These are people that were around 12,500 BCE to approximately 1400 CE.
People, it's just we don't know how they knew any of this.
Where
There's
do they
so
get that
much of
information?
this.
Yeah.
And they said they said the same place the Egyptians said, and the Sumerians said that the gods brought them the information. Well, if you jump across to the world, to the other side of the world, now this is a little later in history, but the Aztecs, Incans, and Mayans said the same thing. And then, of course, the Nazcans said that, and the Toltecs didn't actually say it because there was the Toltecs. We found a lot of the Toltecs. So the Toltecs built a vast civilization, crossing through at least two of these other civilizations areas. But they didn't leave anything behind. Not much, anyway. Nobody really knows.
Yeah, we don't know what happened to them either.
But they do think they might have been the inventors of the Chi-Chi. The Chihuahua.
Oh, yeah.
They said they were used. So, and this is what's weird about them. In some of what you find, they were used like as ratters, but most of it seemed to be that royals used them as hand warmers. And Chihuahuas are vicious. Thank God, if someone ever breeds a full-size Chihuahua, it will be the most vicious dog to ever live. I mean, the dogs can't help themselves, I guess, because they're 5 pounds. They're just vicious.
Yeah.
Oh, my little one Fiona, you piss her off, she will try to take a finger, buddy. She has no clue. My little one, Lola, she's not. Lola's just as sweet as can be. She just wants to stick her tongue up your nose. That's her thing. Daddy, can I stick it in your eyeball? Oh, let me stick it in your nose. That looks even better. Fiona, on the hand's a little different. The other two I had were a little bit meaner than these two, but they were males. No, they make great pets, but they come from South America. They actually say they come from Chihuahua, Mexico. But yeah, there's a whole area, whole range named after the Chihuahua.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, the Chihuahua is named after the range, but still.
Yeah. But they can be vicious animals, and they scare the living snot out of like big dogs, like Great Danes. Great Danes are fierce.
Well, they're listed. They are listed as the meanest dog on the planet. They're one of the number one selling dogs, and right now, currently, they're listed as. But because they're not doing per size, they're just doing it for. What's that, Clara? No, Michelle's got some. I think she's got 3. I got 2. Most people get them in pairs because Chihuahuas need a lot of attention. So if you only get one, you're going to be holding them all the time. If you get 2, they're going. Oh no, they're great with cats. No, they love cats. Cats and Chihuahuas
because they're the
just
same
fight all
size.
over. Yeah, you'll see them hissing and growling, rolling around and stuff. No, they don't. If you got a real little one, you might want to be a little careful. Lola is 5 pounds. If she's 5 pounds, about 5.5 inches tall and about 12 inches long. She's not the smallest one we had. Maxie was 4 pounds, about 6 inches tall, but he wasn't very long. He was mostly weenie. I'm not kidding you. I was as long as he was as long. It was weird. And he bred, I think he had 7 litters, 7 or 8 litters we bred him with. Yeah. The puppies were great. He was a pretty dog. Yeah, there's pictures on him online somewhere. These two came in later. Fiona came after Maxie died, and Lola came after Charlie died. Yes. I went with females this time because they won't piss all over my furniture. Well, they're indoor dogs, and boy dogs just are not good indoors. Yeah, I'm just not good. I'm just not a good parent. I can't beat him or nothing. Come here, you little bastard.
We've gotten pretty good with Admiral. He's a German Shepherd. He's 6 months, a little over 6 months old, but he is good now. We've trained him well. He doesn't pee in the house or poo in the house as much when he was original puppy. So we had a couple of accidents, but not many. But he's good at holding it in, and when we come home, we take him out, and immediately he goes right to the backyard and does his things. So, but he's also very needy. German Shepherds are very needy and need to require a lot of attention.
Let's see. Sarah Morrison sent us this. Who is Eric Schwen? Oversight Dems confirm Hunter's business partner managed Joe Biden's finances during VP tenure. Holy smoke! Somebody's going to jail.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm serious, people. That's a big breach. Well, Joe seemed to be on the VP. He didn't think he had any rules. Mysterious special operations Russia pilot vanishes with valuable cargo mysteries. Oh man. Oh, I know what you're talking about. So I think it was in the 50s. It was a twin engine passenger plane that went missing with, I think, no, it wasn't a prop plane. It was a jet plane. So it was a little longer. That must have been in the 70s. But anyway, this thing had, I think, 80 passengers on it. Went missing for, I don't know, 30 years. And then one day just showed up and landed on the runway where it was supposed to be landed. Yeah, the story doesn't go away. There is evidence that the story is real, but not enough that you can conclusively say, yeah, it was real. No,
one of those Bermuda Triangle things.
Yeah, it was Putin asked again to negotiate with Putin. I mean, Zelensky, you better be careful here. You keep telling Putin, no, something bad might happen to you.
What more could happen? They're already getting their country invaded.
Yeah, but frankly, I'm surprised that he hasn't sent in special forces to kill this dude. I mean, Russia got some pretty good special forces. I think they could get in there and kill him if they wanted to. And not even that. He's been in all kind of countries when they could have took him out. So something about this whole war just stinks, man. I don't know. I wish I knew what it was, guys. I mean, there's just something about this war that just doesn't smell right.
Yeah, and the whole idea is that Putin's going after Nazi assets that are allegedly there. I mean, we don't know why he's even there. The explanations for the war are just they don't make sense.
Yeah, he said that they were becoming a Hitler-like regime, and that's what they were doing. I don't. It's one of those things that I'm dumbfounded to know what is actually going on here.
Yeah, it's
Denise, we got. You know what? Hold on, I'll find that for you. We got about 5 minutes. Let me see right quick. Let me see. I haven't checked them today, so I will check them right now. So their top stories. Usually I do the top stories off of 5 sites, but today we were talking about a lot of other stuff. Well, Iran. There's a lot of stuff going on in Iran. U.S. residents rush as Windows PC speed up giveaway revealed. Wait, what?
huh?
What? Hold on. Now I got to see what this is. Sorry, I got to go see what this is. Latest. Windows users urged to do this today. Keep their system healthy. What is this? Here, Windows PCs.
Sounds like a phishing news.
Microsoft recently announced that they too had and definitely a large number of security issues with both 10 and 11 operating systems. With 7, okay, yeah. Well, you know what? When I get something officially from Windows and not for some bullshit company, I have no idea who you are. I'll consider it a thing. Don't
install it. Yeah.
Yeah, that just sounds like Trump lawyer Gene Kills turns on something narcissist ex-president. Okay, death toll. We're still talking about the Hawaii fires. You know, that was somebody needs to tell me why. What's his name hooked up with Oprah? I'm still confused by that. Why would The Rock do that? I mean, Oprah is so hated in our country ever since Obama that why would anybody? I mean, she lost her whole television show. She had to go start her own network just so she's back on TV.
Yeah,
and it sucks.
Yeah,
it's not doing real well. Oh no, she's rich, people. She's worth about $2 billion. Death toll from Maui wildfires drops to 97 with 31 missing. Everybody keeps telling me the rich people are going to buy up all the property, but the governor said no.
Yeah.
He put a rule on it saying you can't do it. Sorry. You'd have to buy for way more than it. Dish-shaped UFO from Pentagon footage spinning in the air was never real. How did that not surprise me?
Yeah, who said that? Was that CNN?
Did he just fall asleep? President Biden is, yeah, he did. He fell asleep on the podium.
Oh, jeez.
Well, you never know, guys. The Maui thing was a joke. So, well, no, Jason Momoa found out that The Rock and Oprah had his name on there and Dolly Parton's, a bunch of people's names on there. Of course, they called and said, please remove them immediately because no one could believe that The Rock was hooked up with Oprah. That hurt him in so many ways. I don't think he realized what that's going to do to him even long term. That was just a big mistake on his part.
And he was doing pretty good. I mean, he got the rights to the Jumanji movies. He made those 2 sequels to the first one.
Yeah.
So he's trying to commit career suicide, it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like to me. Former Surgeon General rebukes DeSantis administration claims on COVID vaccines. Oh, that's what the CIA was paying off. They were paying scientists and workers who found out that the COVID was leaked from the Wuhan lab. That's what they were paying people off about. Biden under fire for accidentally calling minority workers those without high school diplomas. So if you're a minority worker, you don't have a diploma. That's what he said.
And this guy's in charge of the largest, biggest, or the most powerful country in the world.
Yep. Oh, here we go. We just found a molecule on another world and only live in organisms.
Yeah, I saw that also briefly. That's fairly impressive.
Yes. Well, no, guys, we got to go in just a minute, though. Ukrainian soldier says U.S.-made Bradley fighting vehicles are priceless and nightmare. At nighttime, sorry. Yeah, well, U.S. don't build crappy vehicles. We don't want to get killed. Wait, what is this? Perseverance rover spies avocado rock on Mars photo. Okay, I don't know. That's just stupid looking rock. Well, no, they have that door people that was cut. That door wasn't that big, but that thing was cut. There was no way you could tell by the shape. I mean, it was smooth. It was rounded on the edges. Something cut that. That wasn't just accidental. No telling what's on Mars, and they don't want us to know right now. Boost oil speed. No, I don't want to know about that. China sanctions Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin over arms sales to Taiwan. China, we don't want to give you those weapons anyway. Screw off. You're just mad because we won't give you any good chips, but we'll give them to Taiwan.
Yeah.
Oh, IRS whistleblowers handwritten notes released. It's a bombshell. Boom. This is MSM we're on, by the way, guys. So, yeah, these aren't pro-Trump people here, but still, when you hear good stuff.
So does that mean we're going to get really good returns this year?
Let's see. The person's handwritten notes of the IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley has been released. The following is a bombshell testimony against Joe and Hunter Biden. Holy Spinoli. Nice. Oh, yeah. He's got shit all over the place. He said he had documents. He wasn't kidding either. He's got them. IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley note October 22nd meeting with alleged U.S. Attorney Wise said that he was not decision maker on Hunter Biden's charges. Wise DOJ disputes read. Wise stated he's not deciding person. Wise requested special counsel to show. Man, no X. Get off of me, X. I'm not going to something called X. I'm sorry, Eli, but you should have left it Twitter, my friend. X just, I don't know. X doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I mean,
Twitter gave special counsel access to Trump's private message. Oh, messages. Oh. I can't believe he
didn't Twitter also release his tax returns illegally?
No, yeah, when Dorsey had it. But this is under Elon. I was kind of surprised to see that. Either that or there's nothing on it to worry about. No, we got to get out of here, guys. Libya's chief prosecutor ordered an investigation into collapse of 2 dams amid floods. Ooh. Wait. New Mexico governor suspends guns in cities, parks, and playground. I don't think you have that right, sweetheart. I think that's going to be challenged.
Yeah, I think the Supreme Court of the state's going to kibosh that one.
White House goes to war against Biden's impeachment inquiry. I bet y'all are.
Yeah, of course. Why would we want someone who's a criminal to stay in the presidency of the United States?
Auto worker strike creates test of Biden's goals on labor and climate.
Yeah, I heard about this. They're gonna round robin it. They're gonna strike at one factory, then the next day the next factory. So they're gonna do Ford one day, GM the next day, and the other company the third day, and just keep rotating that way. That's gonna. Ooh. Think about the prices of cars coming up.
Biden has critically run down the U.S.'s strategic oil reserves to buy votes. Oh, come on, man. Y'all can't let him do that. We're getting a war. We'll be in trouble.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Leary warns that the real chaos is about to start. The little guy in America, here's what he means. This is sounding interesting. Vladimir Putin praises Elon Musk. I guess you do, yeah, because you don't want him knocking his missiles out of the sky.
His planes out of the air or his missiles out of the air.
It's why Biden's border. He don't have a border policy. That's why it's not working. I love when they say stupid shit like that and think we're all just ignorant and we know he doesn't have a policy. James Webb Space Telescope's first deep field image is mind blowing. It is mind blowing, by the way.
Yeah, some neat stuff.
China proposes fantasy alternative to major war with Taiwan. You're not going to get in a war with Taiwan, dude. You're going to lose. I don't even know why you want to go there.
Wait, fantasy war? What the hell does that mean?
I don't know. Let me go back and read. Maybe I just read it wrong. Nope, that's what it says. Let's see. Beijing unveiled a plan this week to further interrogate Taiwan because postal trust of China is what appears to be a playbook for taking control of the island in an effort to completely reunify the two nations. It's not going to happen. Taiwan's like, screw you,
I
buddy.
don't think Taiwan wants any of that, and America certainly doesn't want that.
No, and we couldn't let them have them anyway. We'd have to go over there and blow up Taiwan. They got too much of our chip technology.
Yeah.
And things aren't looking good for Obama. What's up with Obama?
I don't know.
Guys, we don't. Nancy Pelosi under heavy fire for her outrageous comments about China. Oh my God! Oh, people, we out of time. We could be here all night with these. We got to go. Well, we got a little sidetrack tonight. We got most of the news done, but we got a little sidetrack tonight. But we got to go. Jay, thanks for hanging out. Sean was tired, man. He
stayed on a little longer than he probably should have.
Yeah, he's well, we go 9 to midnight, guys. No, he's just tired. I mean, he gets up early in the morning.
Yeah, we're on the East Coast, so we're an hour ahead of everybody.
Yeah, see, for me, it's midnight. For Jay, it's 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's wee hours is what we call it. But again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We had a lot of fun tonight. We'll be back doing news, so you'll start seeing a more consistent news flow through the show now. Well, we like doing the news. And there was a lot of news. We just got sidetracked, like I said, but there's a lot of news to cross. And like I said, I usually keep 5 or 6 news sites up that we go through. But tonight, we just wanted to talk about Biden for a while earlier in the show because he is losing his mind. He's the guy who makes us either safe or not safe. So, but on that note, again, Jay, thanks for hanging out. Guys and girls, thanks for tuning in to United Public Radio and News on the Flip Side with Joe and Jay and Sean. And I hope everybody had a good time. Good night and stay tuned for Spaced Out Radio.